wash the car. Like, I don't know, just getting cooped up inside, because of my situation too. I'm not working, so I don't know. I've been just finding things to do. Like, Jamie, I started running outside and stuff, man. I started running. I
You
don't know what
listen,
to
if you
do.
want things to do, I got a backsplash to put up. I got blinds to put up. Like ever since this whole thing happened, my wife is like, "So you're finally gonna get to those things around the house you've been putting off, huh?" And I was like, "Put up. I got blinds."
That's what my landlord's been doing. She's put up a whole new fence in the backyard. She's installing the pool. I'm like, okay, I could dig that.
Now's the time. Thank God Home Depot is still open because that saved me. Like our fridge busted a line of water, so I had to flood the house.
Damn.
All kinds of shit. Yeah.
Like, I miss the little things. I miss like just flying to the store, picking up what you need without no hassle, no curbside pickup. Eating out at restaurants, stuff like that. Like, that's what I miss right now. So
Yeah.
So listen, our future has literally become Death Stranding. So Kojima predicted the future again.
Oh god.
He did it again. He did it again in '98 with MGS2, and he's done it again in 2019 with Death Stranding. So he's 2 for 2.
He nailed it.
He nailed it.
Crazy thing is, like, right around when that game came out you can probably pinpoint to when like the virus really started to spread. Like,
right?
it kind of dates back to late 2019. So the timing is impeccable, Kojima.
It came with copies of Death Stranding.
It did.
Look,
you
did
might as well
like
get
the special
comfortable.
edition have like that yellow tape design on it or something like that?
It did, yeah.
It did. It did. It came with the whole box and package and everything.
Yeah. Wow. Spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky.
It's a good. Listen, I keep telling y'all about Kojima. Y'all don't believe me, but it just keeps happening over and over. So,
All right,
There's one bar/restaurant that I discovered that actually just opened around March, like right before things started closing up. They actually can't serve alcohol within the restaurant. Like, you have to take it to go. And that was like a first for me, because I'm like, usually when you go to a bar, like if you try to take it out, they're like, you got to finish that before you leave.
yeah.
And she was like, now like people can come in, order what you want. They'll give you like a to-go cup, and you can just take that with you and go outside and walk. And
So Chili's will do
Chili's
that.
don't
What
care.
they'll do is you can get like a margarita to go if you order from Chili's. And
Yeah.
what they'll do is they'll take the alcohol and they'll put like a tape seal over it. So like when you get it to go, it's that way you can't, if you break the seal while you're driving, that's on you.
right.
But when you got it, it was sealed. That way if you get pulled over, it's good to go.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, the boxes might be flipped around, but that's okay. I'm about to drop the link, even for Jason Schreier if he wants to look at the chat and stuff. But we're actually live right now. We're actually live. Press Start Podcast, episode 149. Today, we got a great show for you guys today. I appreciate everybody tuning in live on the podcast. Make sure y'all hit that like button and consider supporting our Patreon that we're doing. We appreciate all the support and love you guys have been showing us over there. And, we do our second podcast, Off the Record, which is happening next Tuesday. So check out our Patreon, too. Also, the podcast can be found on iTunes, Google Play, and what else? iTunes, Google Play.
SoundCloud.
And SoundCloud. That's right.
Yeah.
We got early donations from Cat Daddy Lurk. He says, anyone watch Pandemic Part 1?
Pandemic?
Pandemic. I've
Oh,
never heard of that.
I never heard
Yeah,
of it.
never heard of that.
Never heard of it. But I
It's
appreciate
like a
the super chat.
conspiracy theory about the pandemic. It's
Oh,
terrible.
really?
Oh, it is?
Well, so
Yeah.
wait, what happens?
I didn't see it, but it's like something that's like saying it's all a hoax and
Is it like Alex
Oh.
Jonesy?
yeah.
Oh, see that's I'm kind of get hooked on that because I just love the ridiculousness of that kind of stuff. So I might.
Also,
watch
you
it.
live in Florida, so you're
Yeah.
probably
So
getting
I
that
mean,
all the
it's
time.
ideal for me.
That's funny. When my brother moved to Florida is when he got into conspiracy theories too.
Yep.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm
In
not
the
saying
water
it's the
down there.
heat, but it's literally just the heat that happens. So
Jack, man, you look terrible, man. Did you get spoiled? Did you get
No.
spoiled, sir? You actually
No,
good?
Yeah, this motherfucker disrespecting my time, man. It's having me tardy and shit. I don't like that, bro. But I'm good.
You're good. Okay. All right. So we're
Timeline
gonna
been spicy, man.
I know it's been crazy on the internet. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the introductions. We're gonna start off with our guest, former writer, journalist at Kotaku, now working at Bloomberg. We got Jason Schreier in here.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. And we got our panel members. We got Alex.
hey, everybody, thanks for coming by and showing up. It's really cool.
We got Jack.
What's good, y'all? What's popping? How y'all
You
doing?
sound so sad.
You sound so sad.
I'm good, man. I get pissed off. People irritate me, man. What's good with y'all? I ain't got
Don't let-
spoiled.
Look, it's Twitter. Don't let Twitter irritate you.
No, it ain't Twitter. It ain't Twitter. I'm good on that.
And we got J May.
What's going on, everybody? Jay May back checking in with the podcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, share out the stream, let everybody know what's going on over here. And definitely appreciate Jason Schreier for pulling up on us. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, so before we get started, let's see what everybody's been playing. You know, that's a little tradition we do on the podcast, see what everyone's playing. It is a gaming podcast. So Jason, what have you been playing recently?
I've been playing a couple games. I'm still plugging away Persona 5 Royal, which I've been playing for a while now. It's one of those games where I like try to fit in an hour like every other night or something like that. And so I'm like, what, halfway through the game after like 400 hours? But yeah, I'm like replaying it. I already played it. I just want to get to the new stuff. And also it's a really good game. And then I've been playing, I just started this week, Gears Tactics, which is surprisingly awesome. Really good game. Really good XCOM style strategy game.
Okay. J-Man, what you been on?
Essentially working. To be honest, I haven't been playing nothing. My work schedule this week has been my work schedule has been crazy this week, so I haven't really been playing much. But hoping to get some gaming in definitely this weekend. And yeah, we'll see what's up.
Jack, what you been on?
Played and beat Streets of Rage 4.
Ooh, already?
Yeah,
It's not a long
it's
game.
only like it's like an hour and a half. It's a cool game. I like it. The budget definitely shows with that game. I think it could have been a little bit better, but I do like the game. Replayed River City Girls. A better beat 'em up that a lot of people didn't give a shot last year, which is a travesty, but it is what it is with that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Random multiplayer games here and there, but them the main two I've been playing.
How about you, J-Man?
What you say?
How about you? You didn't go, right?
Yeah, Jay.
No, I
You
went.
Oh, you went? All right, Alex,
Yeah.
my bad.
I've been playing South Park Fractured but Whole.
Fire.
It's
Better one.
good. It's got
Arceus.
some differences. You can clearly tell it's not made by Obsidian though. How do I say it? It's not as directly vulgar as Stick of Truth was. It's more like subdued in its comedy. In the beginning, I'm about maybe 8 hours in. I do like some of the changes they made in the battle system, where it's more strategic on the actual plane, and they've given you the squares to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really trying to figure out when it's going to become more South Park, because there have been some funny moments where it will. Okay, good. Because there have been some funny moments where like I've laughed out loud. I just triple classed right now, and the running joke of my dad fucking my mom is really good.
Oh my!
But I think that I think by the 8 hour mark in Stick of Truth, we were already like in the alien ship. Randy was already getting, examined, and things were going on in like specific ways that I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening. But I'm hoping it like cranks up near where I am right now. But it's good as a good sequel. I don't know if I like Stick of Truth a little more than this one, though. I don't know what it is that I can't put my finger on specifically where I want to say why.
Yeah, I mean, Stick of Truth had the novelty of it, like being the first real proper South Park RPG, like written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and
Yeah.
it was also, I mean, you couldn't get much more absurd than what was it, like Nazi zombies running around,
Nazi zombie
Nazi
babies.
aliens?
Yes.
Babies.
Yeah.
The fetus, Nazi zombie fetus. Yeah.
But it's good. Like I wanted a short RPG before I got into Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So I wanted something tight that I could play before I delve into another 100-something hour RPG. So it's good so far. And then of course Counter-Strike Go, and I'm finishing off Doom 64 this weekend.
Okay. All right, so since we actually got the opportunity to get Jason Schreier on the podcast, I figured that we should start off the podcast with some questions if any of you guys had for him. Our Patreons actually sent in some questions that they wanted to know. J-Man, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think you kind of hinted at it a little bit, Kofi, when we were in the pre-show or whatever. But we all know that you used to work at Kotaku, and I kind of just wanted to ask, like, what have you been doing since the departure, and what do you have planned next going forward as far as your career and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I left. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? Is when was my last day at Kotaku, and I took 4 weeks off. My original plan back in the day was, I think this was like pre-pandemic. I was making my plans. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this new job. I'm gonna leave on this date. I talked to my boss about it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna take 4 weeks off and just like relax and play games and like finish off my book a little bit, but mostly just unwind, like not think about anything. And then this friggin' pandemic comes around. And suddenly I am stuck at home with my 7-month-old while my wife is working from home. So instead of like my 4 weeks of freedom, it is turned into my wife's giving me like my 4 weeks of daycare of daddy daycare. So
Oh,
so when you ask what I've been up to, the answer is trying to get my kid to nap for the past couple of weeks. But no, it's been good. I've been kind of enjoying the time off. And then I start at Bloomberg on May 18th, where I am going to be writing about games and covering the video game industry and writing about business and industry stuff and labor and a lot of the work that I've been doing at Kotaku,
Yeah.
teaming up with some of the reporters there. I'm really excited to just like be part of a newsroom full of a lot of people who have just a ton of experience in journalism and are super talented and hoping to do some cool stuff. It's one of those things where it's like we're going to kind of figure out what the best route is as we go. So we're going to be figuring out like the best way to do reporting and covering. And but yeah, I'm going to be writing about games, which is fun.
Okay. So how did you
Nice.
get into journalism, like initially?
So I was always into writing, and I was like, on my high school paper and whatnot, college paper, I was always into just like journalism back in the day. And then after, I think it was after college, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go do some freelance journalism for like a bunch of places. Like went to some websites and whatnot. And I always tell this story. I was doing local journalism, which is like local beat reporting, like finding stories in the community and writing about them. And so one of the things I was assigned to do is I was assigned to go to this government board meeting. And I don't know if any of you guys have been to a government board meeting, but they are the
No.
most boring things on the planet. Like just imagine just like a bunch of elderly people in a room, just like with nothing else to do except argue over like the size of fences and whether zoning board regulations allow you to put up like a 15-foot fence versus a 20-foot fence.
so Florida HOA. Got you.
Exactly. So I'm sitting there. This is in Westchester, New York. So I'm sitting in this meeting, and I'm like, man, I do not want to do this for a living. So I decided to figure out what could I do that would be more interesting, and ultimately landed on video games. And I was like, okay, why don't I take a stab at just like writing about video games? So I started pitching myself to a bunch of different outlets and just like being super persistent, and eventually wound up with a freelance permalance job at Wired, where I worked for a couple of years. And then I moved to Kotaku. I got an email from Steven Totillo, who was the editor there, taking over as editor there, and he was like, hey, you want to come aboard? And that was in 2012. So yeah,
Okay.
Nice.
that
Cool.
was wow, 8 years ago. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's been a while. I wanted to ask you, so with some of the articles that you've written, from the Fallout 4 leaks to Naughty Dog Crunch to Rockstar Crunch, with people coming to you and those sources, and also you still maintaining that relationship with those companies, how do you balance that kind of thing? Because I'm guessing this is just out like shot at the barn is, I'm guessing they don't really like you showing up at the door sometimes, right? So how do you balance that professionally as well as like figuring out how to write specific article pieces on those kinds of topics while still being able to maintain that professional atmosphere? Because I'm sure you may have gotten some unfun phone calls, I think would be the best way to put it.
Well, Bethesda, I don't know if you guys know this, but Bethesda,
I know
as
about the
long as
Bethesda one,
Kotaku,
yeah.
They are since 2013, I believe, they had been blacklisting us. as a result of like some of the coverage we did. But most other PR people, I mean, PR people, they're people, right? Like, so if you're a PR person, your job is essentially like to protect the brand and the communications of your company and like write press releases and ensure that like things are on the level. But like ultimately, you know that you can't control a reporter. You can try to influence a reporter, but like you're a person and you know the reporter has a job to do, right? So like the most reasonable PR people, and there are plenty of reasonable PR people in gaming, they recognize when it's a reporter's job to do something, and like if they're smart, they'll communicate actively with the reporter and like offer to provide comment on their story and stuff like that. But in my experience, a lot of PR people are just professionals and are willing to keep working with reporters, even though those reporters might write things that they don't like that. It happens. That's not to say that that happens often, because or that's not to say that it doesn't always happen, because there are PR people who are less professional, shall we say,
Sure.
including the PR person who runs PR at Bethesda, among other companies. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that like worrying too much, I can't worry too much about what companies will think, or like I can't do my job. I don't think any reporter, anyone who does this like professionally, who's a professional reporter writing about games, the games industry, trying to cover the games industry honestly, they can't worry too much about like what those companies are gonna think, or else they're just gonna like water down their coverage, or like sacrifice stories, or not do what they need to do, right? And like I think that's, especially when you're talking about, I mean, the leaks are one thing. Like, I don't really care as much about leaks. I don't care that much about leaks. I care way more about stories that are about things that like people won't find out about anyway. Like stories about, hey, what's going on at Rockstar? What's going on at Naughty Dog? What's going on at BioWare? What's the story? What's the real story behind Anthem? That sort of stuff is way more appealing and interesting to me than like the leak stories. And if companies don't like that, I mean, deal with it.
Yeah, because I've really loved Danny O'Dwyer's No Clip, and I feel like some of the work you've done is similar to like that, and like that documentary. Like, here's what's really going on behind the scenes of a lot of these things in the industry that we really are unaware of. And I know you were really into unionizing. So what's the process behind that, and how did you come up like with that, or in that scope of idea? Because I've never really understood unionizing on my end. So for me, this is all new.
Okay,
but like
yeah.
that concept is interesting.
Yeah. By the way, I'm skimming through the chat, and you guys are welcome to not be professional if you want. You're welcome to have all the foolery if you want. Bring it on. I want some silliness up in here. I don't want to be.
No, it's interesting because but
I'm happy to talk about serious stuff.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Don't worry about. Okay,
first we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. First, we're gonna get through the questions out the way.
Don't worry about the chat. The chat has third grade reading comprehension level, so I wouldn't worry about them.
Okay.
Additionally, on top of that, most of the chat can barely like even function on a regular basis.
Oh my god!
Gotcha.
Let's not even worry about that.
I hear you.
Don't worry. We're gonna get to the questions. We're just slowly introducing. You know what I mean? We're gonna slowly get there. We're gonna talk about some topics.
Yeah. We'll
if you want silliness, I can look. I've had a couple of beers.
Yeah, bring it on. I've had it. As soon as my kid went to sleep, I was like, you know what? Pouring the wine. Gotta bring it on.
All right, so I gotta. Oh, were you going to finish something?
Well, let me answer. Yeah, let me answer Alex's question real quick. I mean, the short version is like right now, if you work for a company, you're a worker at a company. Let's say you're a company of 10 people. One of those people is the boss, and 9 people are employees. Right? Essentially, you have no leverage against the boss at all. If he can treat you like shit, he can pay you the minimum wage. He can not pay you. He can fire you at will. He can make you come in for 20 extra hours a week unpaid, whatever, right? And I mean, I guess you could go to like an employment lawyer or something, or just quit, but ultimately you have no leverage unless the 9 of you say, hey, we're going to band together and we're going to form a union, and we're going to say, you know what, we have leverage because we're working together against the boss, and we want to make sure that we're treated fairly. And so you sit down with the boss as a group of 9 instead of just individually like letting him fire you and pick you off. You sit down and you work together, and it's all about collective action. So that's the short version of it. Basically, the advantage of unions is that if management has all the power, unions, you can at least fight for a seat at the table. I don't know if you'll ever be equal to bosses in the way that our current capitalistic system works, but you can at least fight for a seat at the table.
Okay.
Got you.
Jamie,
And that's
get
really
your
what
question,
you've been pushing for.
get your
in
question
terms
off,
of,
Jamie, and then I'm gonna do some of the Patreon questions, then we can start talking about some topics because we only have them
There you
until
go.
9:30. So
Okay, so just so that I'm clear, when you said like you don't care about the leak stories, is that in terms of to write them or like to seek them out, or in terms of like you don't care that those kind of things happen to those people?
No, okay. So when I said I don't care about them, what I mean is I don't put a lot of like pride and emphasis into stories like that, right? Like, so the
Mhm.
Fallout 4 script story, like I was happy that we ran that because of the context of the time. I mean, I could go on and on about leaks. My feelings about leaks are very complicated and kind of conflicting, and so I could talk for a while about them, but I'll try to keep this
Yeah.
short. So when something like that happens, or any sort of story that is like, here is what you are going to find out in the future, that is not nearly as interesting to me as a reporter as stories that I could write that people wouldn't find out about anyway. You see what I'm saying? So like,
Mhm.
I don't care that much about like, okay, Microsoft had an Xbox event today. Here's what's gonna be there. Like, I'm not interested in spending my time on something like that, as opposed to like, hey, what's going on behind the scenes of the Xbox Series X? Like that to me is a lot more interesting. The type of thing that you wouldn't be able to find out if a storyteller, if a reporter wasn't in there getting that story.
Mhm.
And then those also, I mean, kind of attached to that is like a lot of those stories can affect change and help people in some powerful ways, and that is kind of another thing that I take seriously and think is important for a reporter to do. But yeah, all that is a lot more interesting to me than just like here's what Rocksteady's working on or whatever.
Mm.
Like I'm not that interested in doing those sorts of stories.
More so than like
Do you feel like
rewording.
you're
Sorry, go ahead.
fucking like the devs over when you do leak stuff though, like announcements for games? Like I know Ubisoft, you tend to like leak the next Assassin's Creed a year before it comes
Mhm.
out. Do you feel bad about that? And you know, in that sense?
Well, so this is where I could go on and on because we're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
into
yeah.
complicated territory here. So first of all, I mean, as a kind of rule of thumb for a while now, for many years, like we don't just report any leak that's given to us. We always, there's like a standard of newsworthiness, and newsworthiness is kind of like a vague term, but it's
Mhm.
essentially case by case basis, right? So like Assassin's Creed, that's a good example, right? So last year, the Division 2 had this teaser for the new Assassin's Creed. It was like a poster of a Viking holding the golden apple from the games.
Yeah.
And so someone discovered that and was like, oh, are they teasing a Viking setting? And because that suddenly became newsworthy, I was like, okay, yeah, I can confirm that it's going to be a Vikings game, as opposed to us just coming out of nowhere and being like, hey, here's the thing. Another example of like newsworthiness is back when they were doing Assassin's Creed Egypt. They hadn't announced it yet. It was the newsworthy aspect of that was actually they were skipping a year, and so we reported back then that like, hey, they're skipping 2016, and then the next one is going to be in 2017. So it's not just, there always has to be something a little bit more for me to justify it than just like, this is a game and it's coming out and here's what you should know about it. And even then, I mean, I have a lot of complicated, conflicting stuff about this, and I've definitely heard from developers who are like, I wish that my game hadn't leaked before
Yeah.
it was supposed to be announced. And yeah, I mean, I would have to be like super heartless, a monster, to not take that into consideration when I do reporting on this stuff. So yes, it's definitely a factor, but it's not going to stop me from doing my job. Like if there's a story that I have to tell, if there's something I have to report, then I mean, if it's going to hurt people, like sometimes that's going to hurt people. Sometimes reporting hurts people. I mean, that's part of
Mhm.
the gig. But yeah, it's complicated. I could go on, and the short version is the crux of it is that like I and my editors, wherever I'm working, have to make these decisions on like a case by case basis and just decide like, what do we think is the best move here? We found this information. Are we going to go out and take the time to go corroborate it with other sources? Are we just going to sit on it and not worry about it, wait for it to pop up somewhere else and then confirm it? Are we going to just not report it at all? There's just a lot of different aspects of this, and it's important to note because this has been kind of like the hot take over the past week on Twitter. Like people calling me out on Twitter, like, "Oh my God, you
That's
are
where I was
criticizing
going.
Last of Us 2 leaks,
Yeah.
even though you leak shit." I have never and would never spoil the story or the ending of a game or anything that affects the experience of playing a game. And there's an important difference between, hey, Fallout 4 exists, and hey, here's all the shit that happens in The Last of Us 2, and here's the ending, and we're gonna go and spoil that everywhere, and here's all 2 hours of leaked footage and whatever. I mean, there are different, we like, everybody sees the word leak and it's like, oh my god, Jason, you're a hypocrite. But anyone who has more than 2 brain cells can recognize that there are very different types of leaks, and they have very different causes and effects.
Yeah, I can see that point of view, and to be frank and honest, I'm not a very big fan of just Kotaku in general, and I'm sure that you've heard that before from other people as well. In the sense,
Rude.
I'm sorry, but like, so my big thing is when you say things like newsworthy, right? The immediate, I'd say, not contrarian, but the immediate reactionary response would be, so you mean clickbait?
No,
So,
I mean,
well, I'm saying, if someone was a reactionary, they were saying newsworthy, right? They would think clickbait. So when you say newsworthy, what does that mean?
I don't know what newsworthiness has to do with clickbait. Clickbait is when you post a headline that has nothing to do with your story or like tries to draw you in. Clickbait is like Assassin's Creed Valhalla release date revealed, and you have to click on it to see what.
There's no release date.
What I
in
wanted
there.
to figure out is for you to explain more about the newsworthy, like what newsworthy actually means, so people don't conflate those two things, because they will.
Yeah,
because
okay.
people like to do that.
So yes, I can see what you're saying. If you don't like, if you're not like super intense media focused the way that a lot of reporters are, you might not have a total grasp of this. I mean, essentially reporting is informing and entertaining and serving the public interest. And what is newsworthy is essentially, what do we think is worth putting in the public? What do you think is the public's interest to know, the public's right to know? And usually you think of it in terms of like politics or things that are way more important than video games. Is it newsworthy that is it newsworthy that your neighbor is having an affair? No, absolutely not. Is it newsworthy that the president is having an affair? Yes, absolutely, because there are different levels of like what is worthy of the public to know, what is in the public's interest to know, what does the public have a right to know so they can make more educated decisions about their lives or whatever, right? And newsworthiness in the games industry is similar. It's like, what do I think that is in the public interest to know? And do I think that it's in the public interest to know this information? I mean, here's an example for it, right? Like, so let's say that I found out that the next Assassin's Creed game was called Valhalla, Vikings, whatever. And also I found out that it's in development hell. And if they put it out, it's going to be full of bugs and shitty and like cost everybody $60 on a buggy game. The latter is very much in the public interest because I could help save you $60 if you know that it's buggy, right? Is it in the public interest for you to know that it's a Viking game? I don't know. Probably not. Like, how does that affect your life? How does that help your life? In the sense that you have more information? Sure, maybe, I guess. But that's why it's on a case-by-case basis, and we talk about this stuff. Is this newsworthy? Is this in the public interest? So it's a complicated conversation that you have to have. But that has nothing to do with clickbait. Clickbait is like, put some shit in a headline. And
there's a lot of... there's a couple of reactionary YouTubers that would love
reactionary YouTubers.
Those two things. Could you believe it? Attach themselves to that kind of thing and be like, well, he said newsworthy, and it's like, well, I just wanted to have that expanded upon more, because the first thing they would do is just try to like snap those two things together, because it's just an immediate thing for a lot of people. So
got it. Yeah.
Right, so let's get
I mean, it's funny. It's always funny when YouTubers mention clickbait, because I've never seen more clickbait than I've seen on YouTube. Every single YouTube video that's like, oh my god, Bethesda doomed, and it's like some guy screaming. It's funny. I saw some people from the channel Inside Gaming calling me out, and I thought that was the funniest thing, because I've never seen a more clickbaity YouTube channel than their fucking headlines about like Anthem is dead. No, is Anthem dead? Anthem is officially dead. I think they had like 10 different headlines that were that, and then you click them and it's them just reading my articles out loud. So it was funny to see those people calling me out.
Also, I want to say congratulations to the chat for having the ability to learn more than 10 words today. Good job.
Let's do our Patreon questions. We don't got much time, so let's do our Patreon questions. This one's from Don B. Says, question: what is one article you regret writing, Jason?
Oh man, I have a lot of articles that I regret writing.
Can you think of one that's really bad?
Man, off the top of my head, so I think it was like I've written a lot of dumb things back in the day, specific like in particular back in the day. In 2012, I think it was, I wrote an article that was like, this is embarrassing. It was like, relax, the Wii U is gonna be just fine. It was like
Oh.
when they just announced it. They just announced it, and I was like, don't count Nintendo out. Like the Wii U is gonna be fine. And man, that article is not.
You're definitely hella wrong about that one.
That is not aged well.
Didn't age well.
Who edited that? Oh, Black Baron probably edited that one.
Barrett.
It's like, yeah, put this out. It's gonna be good.
He's fine.
But yeah, whenever it's like me like prognosticating, or whenever I've had some hot take, I usually regret it in some way or another. Oftentimes the things that get you in the most trouble at a site like Kotaku or like any sort of journalism outlet is just like the stuff that you don't put as much time and effort into as like some of your more well-researched stuff. And that's just like it's something that has happened to me way back in the day. I think Kotaku in general has overhauled a lot of its processes over the years, but I definitely like slapped out some hot takes that I have regretted over the years.
Okay, so we got.
We could always go back to watermelon butts. That was always a good one.
Yeah, that wasn't mine, but I do remember that fondly.
Yeah, I know that wasn't yours, but that was used for, that one was pointed to for a long time, and I was just like,
Yeah. So we got another question from Sofa Spy. He says, "Has any of his sources ever been caught or compromised because they leaked information to him?" So has that ever happened to you? Is one of your sources ever got in trouble for leaking something to you?
Jonathan Cooper. Oh, never mind. My bad. Why did I say that?
As far Jonathan Cooper is publicly tweeting, I don't think he needs to talk to me. I think that as far as I know, no. There's one like sort of thing that I don't really want to talk about publicly for various reasons, but it wasn't someone who like gave me information or anything like that. As far as I know, nobody has. I do know that a lot of companies, more than one, I'll say more than one as far as I know, but I assume more than one that I've heard of, have actually told their employees, like, we found who spoke to Jason Schreier and we fired them. And then I heard about this, reached out to the person I spoke to, and they're like, what? I'm still working here. What are they talking about? So oftentimes that's not the case. And then, I mean, something that I do that I think is really important for most, if not all stories, is I try to make sure that I have multiple people on a given story, which I think helps make sure that they can't be identified. One of the things that I do is when I'm talking to someone, I'll be like, look, let's say I'm working on some bigger investigation or something like the Anthem story or something like that. When I'm talking to someone, I'll be like, you are speaking to me anonymously. Are you the only person who would be in a position to have this information? Or like, are you in a small number of people who would have this information? Like, were you just in a meeting with one other person, and so people would know it was you if you told me this? And if so, I will make sure not to include it. So like, I take a lot of measures to ensure that people are protected, because it's super important. I mean, it's, if people are going to risk their lives and their careers to speak to me for a story, then it's my job to just like do everything within my power to make sure they're protected. So it's super important to me to do that.
All right, so let's get into some topics, because I know that's what the people want right now. Jason, have you seen today's Inside Xbox?
They want me to like drink more and then yell at Jason. That's what they want.
Have you seen today's Inside Xbox, Jason?
So I didn't watch it, but I watched all the trailers from it. So I have a sense of it. I mean, I didn't watch it because I kind of knew going into, I had heard most of what was going to be there, and I was like, oh, this is not worth watching. Inside Xbox.
Should leave that, Jason. Damn. Let us know about that. Write that article.
No, I mean, I like that. Oh, did I just? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you. I think J-Man got kicked off for a second.
Oh, okay. There we go. I like the that what's the name? Hold on, let me look up the name of the game because it looked amazing. Some of the games look cool. I liked Call of the Sea. That game looked awesome. But I knew that like there weren't going to be like Batman and Harry Potter and all the other stuff that like I know everybody else wants to see and like is excited for, because yeah, I mean, something that people really haven't talked about or thought about is we're used to E3, right? Where it's like all these announcements condensed into 1 week into like a handful of press conferences. And because Xbox is the big one, or one of the two big ones, Xbox and Sony, although Sony hasn't been there. So Xbox is really the one big one for like third-party publishers to come in and show everything. Everyone expected that from today's thing. And everyone was like, oh my God, Harry Potter, Elden Ring, like I want to see all this stuff. But what people are forgetting is that now that we don't have an E3, publishers can just do their own thing. And there's no reason for them to attach to someone else's conference, especially when it's something like Inside Xbox that, to be frank, has not had the greatest track record over the past few years of like putting on a compelling show. So if you're someone like, I don't know, Warner Brothers, why wouldn't you do your own thing and be like, you know what, we're going to be the center of attention instead of just like putting our trailer among a bunch of other shit. And the other part of this equation is that there's a lot more competition now because like IGN is putting on their own show and Jeff Keighley is doing his whole summer of gaming thing. So there are a lot of different places where people can show stuff, and who knows what Sony's got in the works, right? So I think that that if you're a big publisher, you have a lot of options, and so like Microsoft doing a thing like this, they're not going to have all that much that they can really draw from, especially with COVID. Like, who knows what's even going to make it this fall as far as games that are expected.
Yeah.
But that was my biggest beef with the whole show then. Like, they had to know what they had in their hands. So why promote it as this big Xbox Series X first look at gameplay and then show 3 seconds of gameplay here and there within a cinematic clip? It's like,
yeah, the Assassin's Creed thing. That's
come on.
like that
was horrible. I don't know. Look, the whole thing with this Inside Xbox, I feel like up to this point, Microsoft has actually been doing a pretty good job with the Xbox Series X rollout. Like, I've been pretty vocal saying like I like what they're doing in terms of rolling out this console. They've been doing a good job. But we all know when it comes to the games department, it's a little bit spooky on Microsoft's side. So they promoted this. This was our first look at Xbox Series X gameplay, and I feel like they didn't put their best foot forward when it came to this presentation. Like, all the games that we've seen, a lot of them were old games that we already knew about, and they just really didn't sell me on the console when it comes to the games. If you're gonna, like, the Xbox One, we already know the whole story with that. It's just like beating the dead horse. Like, the review was terrible, and you guys know how, like, the power of the first impression. And I feel like this wasn't really a good first impression for Microsoft when it came to the games. You know, they were really promoting this on the Twitter timeline like crazy on their Twitter page. So I was expecting a little bit more. But Assassin's Creed did turn out to be like the biggest announcement they had. And on top of that, they barely showed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The important part of this, though, is like, I know this is all we're talking about now, but like come November, all that's going to matter are the price and the games that each of these things come with. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, well, I was going to get an Xbox, but like that May event, that was really underwhelming. Like, at the end of the day, all that's going to matter is those two things. So, like, people are like, oh my God, Sony's silent, what are they doing? Again, I just don't think any of it is really gonna matter. But yes, Microsoft has definitely like blown Sony out of the water as far as what they've shown so far. And really, Microsoft has blown Sony out of the water with Xbox Game Pass, which, like, playing Gears Tactics now, just knowing this one game is just like, hey, I pay for Xbox Game Pass and I'm getting this brand new like awesome game as part of this among hundreds of other games. It's just like a ridiculous price package offering. If that's like a big selling point for the Xbox Series X, that is going to be impressive for them.
All right, Jason, I'm going to ask you a tough question.
Real quick. This one's real quick. This one's real quick, Alex. All right,
this one's quick.
All right, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
If Cyberpunk is getting delayed, blink twice.
It's already been delayed like 3 times.
Past September.
It's coming out in September, bro.
I think September is pretty safe to say because I think they were at this point. I mean, that's what they've said. I don't have any inside info on whether it's going to be delayed or not. But
so excited for that game. I had to find.
It seems like the things. I mean, yeah, the biggest problems are like retail pipelines, and then if you can actually get the games done, like your own production. And I think that Cyberpunk, it seems like they're content complete and they're just in bug fixing mode. So I think production wise, they're fine. And I think given that they don't really, I mean, I don't know, they have their own store. I'm sure they'll do well digitally. I think they're in good shape for September. I hope so. I want to play that game pretty badly.
I'm so ready for that. All right, sorry, Kofi, I had to derail that for a second.
Yeah, so my question is, there's a lot of rumors, about PlayStation revealing or showing something about the PlayStation 5 in May or in June. Is there any credence to these rumors? Can you hint at anything? Do you know?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So hopefully in May, because I heard something was going to be showing in May.
Wait, yes, you know, or yes, it's happening.
There's definitely, I mean, look, with all this stuff, we're in an atmosphere right now with COVID where like nothing is definitive until like 2 days before, right? And I think that a lot of these, like both Sony and Microsoft, have just been changing their plans constantly. But as of right now, as far as I know, right now Sony's and still on track to do at least one thing, like by early June, let's say, or by mid June, let's say. But I almost don't want to say that. I almost want to take that back, because if COVID forces a delay, people are going to be like, but Jason, you said. So take this all with a giant caveat that like we're in the middle of an unprecedented global pandemic and anything can happen as a result of that.
Okay. I think I seen a super chat from somebody. I think he wanted to know what happened to Sean Layden. I don't know how you would know this type of information, but do you know anything? Because it seemed like when he left Sony, like it was just like a tweet, and people have been wondering ever since. Like, was there some like kind of internal struggle or beef going on over there at Sony? Do you know anything about something like this?
I don't know. I am certainly trying to read between the lines like everybody else. He sent me a congratulations tweet when I announced that I was going to Bloomberg. So maybe I should hit him up and try to get him to chat. Tell me the story. So
all right.
stay tuned.
Definitely give us a scoop in the article or something.
Yeah.
All right. So Jack, what did you think of Microsoft Inside Xbox?
Laugh though, bro.
Foolishly, I was kind of looking forward to it, man. Next look at next generation. In my opinion, in my opinion, they should have, started with some shit you could only get on their console as far as consoles go. They didn't want to do that third-party games. That's cool. And like I said, foolishly, I thought we would see, the Elden Rings of the world and the new Assassin's Creed, If y'all liked it, I loved it, man. That's all I'm gonna say. How do you show Madden 21, a game I'm sure they got plenty of footage of? You show Patrick Mahomes
3
doing
seconds.
a slowdown. Yeah, it was like
3 seconds.
Hey man, we might not get real football, so Madden 21 might be really important.
That's what I need that, right? I need that. So I was disappointed overall. I wasn't really impressed by anything, but y'all like it, I love it, man.
See,
y'all
there was only
So,
two games that they showed that I thought Second Extinction and that Bandai Namco something Nexus. I keep forgetting what it is. But
Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus.
Anime.
Those are like the only two games that actually caught my attention. But like I feel like all these other games were like kind of B tier, lower. Like we already know they're like lower studios or smaller studios type of games. I feel like Microsoft should have just put this in one big show with their first party and just did one big event. But that's my opinion.
AAA experiences. Chorus looks good. Scorn is good. Bright Memory's good. Like there's a lot of stuff out there that you're missing out on because you just don't want to play.
No, and
them
you know that's
games
not
like
the case.
glorified tech demos, dog.
You said Scorn looks good. What did they show?
Scorn has been out for a while.
So what the hell is the new game?
That's what I'm saying.
DLC.
What the hell?
Scorn's been out for a bit.
It was like some.
Now, was that like the demonic game? Like the
Scorn, yeah, it's basically a tool video, is what it is.
Yeah, that one thing that looked like a dick. That's why Alex likes it. Listen, we know what's going on.
You know, like during our live stream, I'm like, yo, shout out to Kid Smooth. Yo, this might be, against his religion. If you watching this, there's a lot of demonic stuff going on in this. So. Yeah, so I don't know. But Jay, man, you watched it with me.
By the way,
yeah,
something we're considering just real quick about next gen stuff is like I don't think the graphical fidelity like increase is not going to be that significant. Like I don't think you look at like Red Dead Redemption 2 right now and it's just like mind boggling. Like I don't think games are going to look too much better than that, especially in the first couple of years. But I think what is going to happen is because of the SSDs and the RAM increase and the CPU boost, I think what's actually going to be in the games is going to be really impressive. Like I'm imagining open worlds that are just like designed in a completely different way, in a way more elaborate way, that aren't like designed to mask loading times anymore. Maybe like you can go inside of places that you would never be able to go inside before, and like suddenly there's room, there's the memory for all this stuff, or like more AI or more things can appear on screen, more people on screen. So I think that a lot of the stuff that is going to be like quote unquote next gen is going to be more subtle, but as a result more impressive than just like seeing fancier graphics on screen.
Yeah, see,
I'm more for like AI is really what I'm really
yeah,
into.
because that's a question that I actually brought up on the podcast a couple of times. Like, are we at a point where visuals are kind of locked off? Obviously, they can get better with different effects and stuff like that, with like the ray tracing and things like that. But I don't know if we're ever gonna see that next generation leap that we've seen with previous generations this time around. Maybe if we're lucky, 60 frames per second and higher frame rates will be the next big step, which I'm actually okay with, because I think we're in a place right now where gaming looks pretty incredible. Like, we see what studios like Sucker Punch, Naughty Dog are doing with current hardware, and games are absolutely like jaw dropping. If they can get them games just running better, I'm down with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Jamie, any opinions on Inside Xbox?
I didn't think it was a bad like showing overall, but look, how do I word this? What they promoted it as, it wasn't that. I think that part is bad. Like how they promoted it, how they had us believing we're getting first looks at gameplay of next generation games and stuff like that. And I go back to like I made a tweet earlier about how like the Horizon Zero Dawn gameplay trailer, that reveal. Like, to me, when I hear gameplay trailers, that's what I want to see from these developers when they're announcing their games. That was a perfect example of a new IP shown. They gave you good background story. They gave you a nice clip of gameplay that showed you exactly what you're going to be doing, and it was all 6 minutes. I think they showed like 12 games within this whole show, and it was, if you gave each game maybe like 4 or 5 minutes of a gameplay trailer, I think that would have been a better offering in terms of how they promoted the show. Some of the games that I saw on here did look interesting, like Bright Memory Infinite. That looked pretty cool, especially for it to be only one person making that.
Yeah.
The Ascent, I think that's a twin stick shooter. That looks pretty cool. I want to see more of that Game the Medium, that horror game. And then, like you were saying earlier, Scarlet Nexus, the Bandai game, looked pretty cool. So, like, the games they showed, I'm not mad at. It's just how they were showed and lead up to, how they promoted the show. And Assassin's Creed, that bruh, I don't understand why they even do that.
Yeah.
It's the drip feed. But Ubisoft, you got to remember, Ubisoft has its own E3 press conference that they're gonna do. I don't know if they said it, but I heard June, July, whatever it is. But they're gonna have their own showing, and it'll be Assassin's Creed and like tons of other Ubisoft Watch Dogs and Gods and Monsters, and so that's when we'll get like the real deep dive into Assassin's Creed. So what's 2 more months?
Yeah. I know we don't have you for much more time, so I want to get some questions off. What was your reaction with The Last of Us being, leaked, and all the rumors around it? Like, okay, it was disgruntled employees, but it turned out that Sony identified the people, and it was some sort of data breach.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. I first reacted to that just by like lazily browsing Twitter, and I had actually seen the full story. I just saw people reacting to this thing, and because I was between jobs, I wasn't like looking up exactly what happened. So I was like, oh man, and so I had an initial reaction to like it feeling like it was shitty to the other employees, and then I was like, wait a minute, where did this idea even come from that it was another employee? And then I realized that nobody could really trace it down. People were just talking about it as if it had happened. So I immediately was like, shit, I regret wading into this conversation when I didn't know. So the rumor was that someone had leaked it because of like the unpaid wages, a contractor who like wasn't paid properly. And when I started thinking about it more, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't add up, because what I had actually heard about it, I don't know, you guys might have seen, I wrote a story about Naughty Dog's crunch and culture a couple of months ago. And so one of the things that I'd heard was, because I ran that story like right around the time the pandemic was starting, what I heard was that the contractors even those whose contracts were supposed to end in like mid-March, Sony and Naughty Dog actually gave them extra pay and extra benefits, like extensions of that. I think it was through the end of May or something like that, because of the pandemic. So they were like, you know what, we know we're sending you out on the street, we're going to try to help you out a little bit. And I thought that was really cool of them. So to hear that while at the same time seeing this like rumor that a contractor says he wasn't paid, it didn't really seem correct the more I thought about it. So then I started being skeptical. Then I started doing some reporting, which is like insane of me because again, I am between jobs, should have no business like wading into this at all. But I was like, what the hell? I'm interested in this. I'm already tweeting about it. Might as well get in. And so I started asking around and figured out that like, oh yeah, it's not actually an employee. It was this security breach. So yeah, just shitty thing to do. I mean, like I said before, huge difference between leaking information that is like the announcement of a game and leaking the entire experience of playing a game and a story. Like people don't, anyone who makes that comparison is just like I, I don't want to say stupid, but stupid.
Dumb as hell. Dumb as hell.
It's so stupid because I mean to know that like if you look at Fallout 4, I saw on Twitter all these people were like these screen caps of like me writing about the scripts from Fallout 4 and Fallout 4 was revealed to be in Boston and that story versus The Last of Us 2. But if you go back and you look at that Fallout 4 story, I was extremely careful. Like we got a bunch of script pages. Some of those had story spoilers in them, including the beginning of the game, which is like a big twist. It's sorry for the 2015 spoilers, but like your spouse is murdered and your son is kidnapped. So we got pages saying that, but we were like, we don't want to spoil the game for people. We just want to explain that this game is actually happening and it's real. So we decided not to include that, and like we deliberately did not include spoilers. So I think that that people who are trying to make the comparison between leaking the existence of a game, leaking the fact that a game is in development, and leaking actual story spoilers for a game, again, stupid as hell.
Did you feel that? So I know some people were levying that criticism at you. People who are actually like pretty big in the industry, and from what I saw, that you did block them. So like, is something like that like consistent that happens to you, or is that like your normal recourse, or do you ever try to like have that conversation with people that are like in that same plane with you? I'm just trying to figure it out. That's really what I like. I like to see what you think.
If someone on Twitter is like seems to be legitimately interested in having a conversation, sometimes I'll have a conversation with them. But the way I use Twitter is I do not tolerate anyone who is just annoying to me in any way, and I get a kind of kick out of blocking people because it's cathartic.
See?
It feels like I'm cleaning
See,
up.
Jason, that's why there's sometimes some people in the chat salty. You have a couple in here, people watching this podcast probably in the chat blocked right now.
Yeah,
are blocked by you right now, so they're a little upset.
Yeah, and then Kofi, and they usually they say to me like, Jason, why'd you block me? I didn't say anything to you. And then I do. All you have to do is like go on Twitter. You type in / their username, Jason Schreier, and almost every single time I find they just said something vile. They're like, "You Jew kike motherfucker!"
Yeah,
oh
disrespectful
like,
shit for no reason.
Yeah, it's always just like I just don't have the tolerance. Like my Twitter page is like nobody has the right to see what I post. It's and nobody has the right to be in my notifications. Nobody has the right to be, because of the way Twitter works. Like anybody can, if you get enough likes, you can be the first response to my Twitter feed and then to one of my tweets, and then you'll be seen by tons of people. So like nobody has the right to any of those things, and therefore I will block them if I find them annoying or disrespectful in any way. That's the important distinction there, is like if someone disagrees with me, that's totally fine, and like I'm never going to block someone just for disagreeing with me. It's if they do it in like this disrespectful, annoying way that I will. With the Fallout stuff, it was always people just being obnoxious. Like it was never like, hey Jason, why do you say this? I'm curious, why do you say this when you've leaked games before? Because if someone just asked me in a legitimate, curious way, I would probably respond to them, unless I was getting like overwhelmed with notifications and didn't have time to respond. But like it was people just being obnoxious and like screen capping and being like, oh, you're a hypocrite. So those people, I mean, get blocked.
And also writing things down loses a lot of like the tonality. Like it really does, because if you know, like it's one thing if like you know that person specifically on a personal level and they be like, bro, fuck, come on, like dude, and you're like, but if it's somebody who like you don't know and they write it down, like the way you also take it could also be like, this motherfucker. Like I get it sometimes too from like the crowd here in this chat quite often. Definitely. So I think a lot of it is just like tonality as well. So I just wanted to figure out like that kind of like perspective. And yeah, you're right. Like I used to be on like a blocking thing, but now I'm more into muting, because muting is like that. where they just scream
So the
in.
problem with muting is if you have a high profile, like if you have a lot of people like interacting with your tweets and you mute someone, they can still bubble up to the top of your responses. And just like, I don't want that shit there if it's like a shitty person. You know what I mean?
Okay. So we got this Patreon question from Drew Stacks 15. He's asking, do you know if Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us Part 2 will have PS5 versions at launch? So do you think that the PlayStation 5 is gonna have like their own SKUs of these games, or you think it's just gonna be available through backwards compatible? Do you know any information on that?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure. I think that if I had to guess, gun to my head, I would guess that they're gonna be new SKUs of a lot of these games that are like remastered, overhauled versions. That feels like a very Sony thing to do to me. But on the flip side, like I know that everybody who buys The Last of Us 2 and goes to Tsushima and then are expected to buy it again will be super pissed. So it's an interesting question. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
We got another question from Francisco Burrow. He says, do you have any information on Dead Island 2, the development of that game? Because we know that game was announced so long ago and there's barely been any updates on it. Do you know anything about this?
No. I remember hearing rumors a while back. I mean, I know it switched hands a bunch. I doubt at this point, I doubt that game will ever come out. But I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
I remember that trailer, that weird trailer of the guy running, and then it just never showed up again.
Yeah, it's sort of falling.
You jogging the shit.
And we got another question from Miles. He says, Jason, I know you're a big fan of JRPGs. My question is, what's your most anticipated upcoming JRPG?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'm excited for are there even that many upcoming JRPGs? I'm excited for
Xenoblade Chronicles,
Bravely Default 2.
I think.
Nah, I'm very anti Xenoblade, unfortunately.
What?
I've just,
Fight now.
yeah, I've just
We gotta
all
fight
of those games, especially 2, has just
Oh,
really
oh my.
disappointed.
Okay, see, this
2
is
was
where,
fucking
this is-
terrible.
this is where we could connect because
gotta fight.
I really hate Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as well. I really hate
We gotta
that game.
fight. That's what we.
Yeah,
I really hate
that
the
game
second one as
really
well.
disappointed me. But yeah, I'm excited for remake Final Fantasy VII remake part 2. I'm excited for that to continue. I'm excited for Final Fantasy 16 whenever they announce that. I want to see what that looks like. I'm excited for Bravely Default 2. I mentioned Elden Ring. Does that count? I'm super stoked for that game. That new Tales game that was announced last year.
Tales of Arise,
Yeah. I'm stoked for that. Tales has gotten quietly like better and better with every new entry. So I'm excited to see what they do next.
Okay. We got a super chat. He says, my question to Jason is, how come there aren't more people in the game industry that report like you do? With The Last of Us leak, that very many journalists that knew the rumor were false. No, that's how you wrote it. That's how you wrote it.
As you can see, Jason, 3rd grade reading level.
Oh man, why you do my
That's how you wrote it. So I read it how you wrote it.
I don't know if people knew that it was false necessarily. And there are a lot of good reporters out there like doing a lot of good work on sites like IGN and Polygon and Kotaku still. There are plenty of good reporters out there. So I guess I don't really agree with the premise of the question.
Okay. Another person asks, do you know Warner Brothers plans this summer? Because there's been a lot of rumors about this Batman game that is like the game is never coming to light. Like, what's going on with this? Do you know anything about
Keep
this?
teasing that.
It's so funny that they've done like these logo teases, and something tells me, I have a hunch, I don't know this for sure, but I have a hunch that like they were planning to fill in all of those circles, but they got so much backlash that they were like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't keep teasing this. But yeah, they've been teasing that game. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Like it was a logo with like a bunch of circles, and they only filled in 2 of them. I think they're like enemies of Batman or something like that.
The idea is the Court of Owls, where it's like a secret society under Gotham. Look, I'm into comics. I'll go in there for years. Let's not do that.
Nice. So they're all, I mean, obviously that game is coming. They've been teasing it for a while. I can't believe they teased it 6 months ago and still haven't announced it. That's kind of absurd and ridiculous and so funny. But yeah, I do know that Warner Brothers was planning on doing an E3 press conference. What I don't know is if they're still going to do the same type of thing where they're like, hey, we're going to show off all our games in one conference, or if they're going to do more of a piecemeal, like here's Batman, here's Harry Potter. if I had to guess, I would guess that they're still going to do some sort of digital thing, although maybe it will be later. One of the nice things for companies about E3 being canceled is that they no longer have to like crunch to finish their demos by E3. And so like they have all this more time. They can be like, you know what, we're going to do our thing in July or August or whatever. So there's more flexibility there. And I wouldn't be shocked if Warner Brothers was like, hey, we're doing a digital presentation, but not until August. And we're going to show off all of our stuff there. But yeah, the thing that I cannot wait to see, and also the thing that I get the most messages about, is Harry Potter, because that could be a really special game if they do it well. I just really want it to be like Persona. I really want a Persona Harry Potter game.
All right, so we got a super chat from Brian Lobo. He says, has Jason heard anything about Shin Megami Tensei 5? Do you know anything about this? No.
But I remember it was announced like 3 years ago and just
disappeared.
You see,
they know you announced at the Switch event, like the reveal event.
Yeah, they know you in the industry, so they think you have the answers to everything. So they're gonna ask you a whole bunch of. They might even ask, what's the weather gonna be like next week? They think you know everything.
I can tell you that too. I have a great app on my phone.
What else? We got another question. Somebody asked, do you think Destiny is gonna be 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 5?
I sure hope so. It better be.
Yeah, it should be.
I mean, I think it will be because it runs beautifully on PC. Runs great on PC. It's actually amazing how well they've gotten it to run on PC. I do think that that Bungie has some super talented engineers, so I would be shocked if it was not 60 frames a second on PS5 and Xbox Series X.
What is your preferred platform, if you don't mind me asking?
So I don't really have a preferred platform. It's more like, what am I playing a specific game? I play so many games. People might not realize this. But I play a lot of games. Like I try to play as much as possible. Most of the stuff I play is either on PC or Switch, I would say. PC because everything just runs better there, and because I tend to get a lot of like codes and stuff for there, and then Switch because it's convenient and portable. If I absolutely have to, I don't like playing games on console unless I absolutely have to, unless it's like an exclusive that I have to play. So that's one of the reasons that I'm so stoked about Microsoft putting everything on PC, is that I just never have to play an Xbox game because I can just play everything on my PC, which I love.
There you go. That's the combo for 2020, y'all. PC, Switch. Get on the train.
PS5. Don't forget
that. Oh, barely 30 FPS games. Please stop.
All right, yo, Jack, as
I need that.
Jason probably has to leave soon. Jack, do you have any questions for Jason or anything you want to
Yeah, I can give you guys 10 more minutes and then I gotta go.
Okay.
Well, Jason
anything
probably don't remember. Yeah, I was gonna say Jason probably don't remember, but we did speak before. Last time we spoke, you was working on, I think, your second book. I want to know what's the update on that.
That is a good question. So, I actually just finished a draft and sent it to a few friends and colleagues and stuff for feedback, and I've been getting in feedback over the past week, which has been awesome. I just got an email just before we started recording from one of the people who I asked to read it, and they were like, "Man, I really liked your first book, but this is even better," and that made me extremely happy to hear. So yeah, I mean, the first book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, was about game development, and this book is also about game development, but in a very different way. It's not. It's more about the volatility of the video game industry and the way that the video game industry chews people up. And it's telling a bunch of stories that I think people will be very interested in, but it also tries to kind of capture some of the bigger picture issues that I think will be fascinating to people, and hopefully I think it'll be harrowing to people also, and hopefully lead to some change, but we'll see what happens, and I think people will like it. I'm really proud of it and really happy with the progress that it's been making. So the question that everybody is asking, of course, is when can I actually read this thing? And the answer is not till next spring. So just like most video games, this has been delayed a couple of times.
All right, so let's hit up a topic question. This one is from Nintendo. Okay, so they put out their financial or their quarterly report or something like that, and the Switch has hit 55.7 million units sold. Jason, did you expect the Switch to have this much success when it initially revealed? Because a lot of people, thought this was going to be a dead on arrival console. They wanted something more traditional. Did you see the Switch doing this well?
Yes. So this is the same guy who said, "Don't worry, the Wii U will be just fine." Right.
Double down.
I mean, I always like. It's funny. People on Twitter are always like, "Jason, you're a Sony fanboy," but really, if I'm a fanboy of I mean, I don't think I'm a fanboy of anything. But the games that I hold most in my heart are Nintendo games. Like I'm a Zelda, if anything, a Zelda aficionado, Mario fanboy. So I've always kind of had a lot of optimism and high hopes for Nintendo platforms. And I think the Wii U, one of the reasons I was high on the Wii U was it did what I thought, or essentially I hope the Wii U would be what the Switch actually was, which is like this console that accommodates portability and allows you to play it anywhere with your apartment or your house. Because I think that anyone who like lives with a significant other like I do, or anyone who has a family, knows how valuable TV space is, and like how sometimes your wife wants to watch a TV, your husband wants to watch a TV, you want to play your game in the other room or something like that. And so the Wii U, I saw that like that value of the portability in that, but it didn't work in effect for a variety of reasons that I won't get into. But the Switch was like the execution of that I had always wanted. And so like as soon as I saw that video they revealed of like the snapping and the people like going around to rooftop parties and stuff, I was like, man, this is gonna be cool. And then Breath of the Wild, I got to review that, so I got it a couple weeks before it actually came out. And as I was playing it, I was just like, this is a special game. Like this is a once in a generation type of game. So those two things combined, I was like, I know this is gonna be incredible. It got to the point where my wife, who doesn't play a lot of video games, was just like playing Breath of the Wild all the time. And I was what is this, Joy-Con?
you see, we have somebody who watches our podcast live, and he makes memes like so fast. So amazing. He said that you like the Switch, so he already put you on Joy-Con Boys.
Joy-Con Boys. I don't know if you know the YouTuber Etika, the one that sadly committed suicide. So his thing was Joy-Con Boys because he's a big Nintendo guy. Because you're a Nintendo guy, they put you as a Joy-Con boy. You've been initiated as a Joy-Con boy. So props to you, my friend.
It's so funny because like all the Xbox fanboys get mad at me because I criticize Xbox for one reason or another, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're a pony." I think it was because it's been a variety of things over the years, but most recently because I was talking about how the PS5 developers say all these cool things about the PS5 weren't really captured in the Mark Cerny spec showcase, and like that Sony has done a bad job of conveying what's really cool about the thing. So I was talking about that. Xbox fanboys all get mad at me and call me a Sony fanboy. But man, if you want to be at least a tiny bit more accurate, be like you're a PC like Nintendo fanboy, because that's all I play. Like I only play the PlayStation when I absolutely have to. Like I don't like playing console games.
You're in the wrong chat.
That's what I was confused about those, because when you had wrote that article about the Naughty Dog crunch, like people they ran with it and stuff like that, no questions asked. Right. But then you come out and say that the Sony leaks were hackers
for that. Well, the Sony fanboys got mad at me for that, and also for reporting that Horizon was coming to PC. Then I got a bunch of Sony fanboys fan, and that's when the Xbox fanboys are all like, "Oh, Horizon coming to PC, it must be true." It's like you only believe whatever fits your
exactly.
Like,
Jason, you gotta at this point, like it's a similar thing that I go through all the time. Is one day I'm an Xbot, one day I'm a pony, one day I'm a PC elitist, one day it's just anytime you say something good about a platform or you have some sort of criticism for another platform, then they automatically say, "Oh, you're this, you're that," and it keeps on switching and switching every single time. So it's something that you just gotta ignore. Like I just figured out, you just gotta ignore.
And now you see why I blocked so many people on Twitter.
You just gotta ignore it.
Right? And just for hating everything. That way, it's all hate.
Nah, I don't have. Man, I'm exhausted of people who hate everything. I like liking things.
Don't follow Alex, man. Don't.
Alex 100% hates everything.
Let's not
go it's Doom or CD Projekt Red.
Listen, I am critical of things. That's very big.
I think you got a little hate in your heart for PlayStation. You got a little hate in your heart.
I have emulated over 140 PlayStation games between the PS1 and the PS2. So don't tell me that I hate PlayStation. Do I like PlayStation as they are right now? No. Do I like cinematic games? No. I like video games, games that I play. I don't want games that I watch. So that's my thing.
Okay.
I don't want to watch Last of Us, Jack. I want to play Last of Us.
Nah, you don't want to watch Last of Us. You want to watch Death Stranding. We know. We get it. We get it.
Yeah.
So it's.
Go ahead, Alex.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I was look. I'm like 4 beers in. It's like 8.5%. But really, you don't. Right now.
Yeah. So just some other news. Halo 2 Anniversary is actually joining the Master Chief Collection on PC next week.
Yeah.
Jason,
That's
you play Halo? Any of these type of games?
Nah, never been a Halo person. Big Destiny person.
You like
never
Destiny,
been a
though. Okay, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Microsoft also reiterates that Halo Infinite will be releasing this year alongside the Series X. And there's been a lot of talk about that game going through development troubles. Jason, have you heard of anything about this? Because I hear I hear it's true, though.
Go ahead and delay that right here on the Press Start podcast.
I think the talk of that is because of the reporting that we've done at Kotaku, which is that their creative director left in the middle of production. I believe it was last year their creative director left and their executive producer changed roles. And I mean, when a creative director leaves a game, that's not a good sign for that game ever. And I think this I mean, Halo games are always like every single Halo game has gone through some form of development hell or another. And yeah, I mean, this is something that I'm certainly keeping an eye on, keeping an ear out for Halo Infinite's development. It's interesting because Microsoft is in this tough spot where, like, even if Halo Infinite needed more time, which it probably does at this point, all games probably need more time. It's impossible to delay because it's their big Xbox launch.
And they promise,
exclusive.
and they keep on promising that it's going to be out at launch. I say, if it's going
something
through problems, they should delay it then.
So something I heard was that it might be that okay, so I should preface this by saying I heard this years ago, so definitely might not be accurate anymore. But the thing I heard a couple of years ago was that they were going to release the next Halo, this one, in multiple pieces, where it would be like, okay, here's one multiplayer component, and then we're going to release everything else later, or like one smaller piece and then add to that, or something like that. But again, this is very old information. I heard this 2-3 years ago, so things definitely may have changed since then. But that's kind of a good solution if you still want your Halo game on launch, and then you want to just add to it later if your part of your game isn't ready to go yet. If the multiplayer is ready,
I think that would be a mistake, to be honest. I feel like at this point, I'm like a really old school Halo fan. Like, I'm a real big fan of Bungie's creations, but it just feels like the series with 343, like, it hasn't been the same. You know, it's either that the campaign is decent but the multiplayer really sucks, or a Halo 5 situation where the campaign was absolutely horrible in my opinion and the multiplayer was okay. So I don't know if that's the right message to send by releasing Halo Infinite in pieces. I actually think that would be a bad idea. I feel like there's a lot riding for this too, because I think people are looking at this and they're gonna be like, okay, we gave you a chance with 4, 5, and we've seen how you handled Master Chief Collection. So I feel like Halo Infinite, they really got to deliver. Like, this game really got to be it, or I don't know what they're gonna do with this franchise. I'm pretty sure it's, Halo's a huge name. It's probably gonna do relatively well even on the Xbox platform, and it's gonna be coming to PC. But I feel like the 343 industry has a lot to prove with this Halo. So if it's going through some sort of problems, I feel like they need to delay it so they can get this game right, because I feel like it needs to be right.
Yeah, it's important to note that all games go through problems and then they come out, and either some games everybody thinks they're going to be a disaster. The Last of Us 1 is one of the most iconic examples of like the people, Bruce Straley, one of the directors of the game, and Neil Druckmann is the other. The two of them thought it was going to be like the biggest shit show in the world until like a couple of weeks before it actually came out. All games are just the way games are developed is because different pieces of them are developed at the same time, and you don't really see how it's all coming together until very close to the very end. It can be difficult to really gauge whether you're going through like standard production trouble or like production trouble like Anthem, where it's going to lead to a total mess. But even Anthem, if they had like 6 more months, they might have been able to come up with something pretty cool. So yeah, game development is just so difficult and excruciating that it's always gonna be production problems. All right, I should hop off on that note.
All right.
So thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming up.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on.
So
Appreciate
quick shout out. I gotta make a plug, which is my colleagues Kirk Hamilton and Maddie Myers and I started a podcast called the Triple Click Podcast, and this is kind of like a spiritual successor to our old podcast, which is part of Kotaku's Split Screen. So if you're looking for two cool people and then me talking about video games in a kind of smart, funny ways, check it out. It's called Triple Click, the podcast. You can find it anywhere. I think it's pretty cool, but I guess I'm kind of biased.
If you're looking for smart, this chat isn't it.
Oh my god! You don't have to diss the viewers like that. Alex has been going crazy on these guys lately, man. They gonna really pull up on you, man. They gonna pull up on you. They're gonna dox you with something, Alex. The way you do it.
If anyone in the chat is mad that I block them, send me a note and I'll check it out and I'll see if I blocked you.
You know what, Jason? I think I got a couple of people that are really a little salty. Like I have a boy. He's a really good guy. His name is Meds. I think you blocked him on Twitter, and I think he really wants to get unblocked.
What's his Twitter?
So Meds, if you're watching, hurry up and give me your Twitter. Give me your
What's
Twitter.
His Twitter handle?
Let me see if I can give it to him. So we're gonna unblock Meds live right now, man. We're gonna unblock Meds.
I'll look it up right now. I'll see.
Oh Jesus!
I'll see if it was a justified block.
Let's see.
I don't know, man. Meds probably said something flagrant, dog.
He probably did. I'm
You know how Meds be getting.
Meds took a shot at tequila and went up.
All right, so this is his Twitter right here.
So Meds gets really high and also really drunk at the same time, so it's kind of rough for him sometimes. So I'm not gonna put it past you.
And you, all right. one last person. Anyone else need to get blocked? Then he might consider it. Jason might consider it.
And you need to put your chat.
Okay, so this guy, Meds got mad at me because I tweeted that I loved Assassin's Creed Odyssey and never once noticed or thought about the microtransactions. And so he said that it was deflating that I felt that way, and that he thought I was one of the good guys. It looks like that's how I might have blocked him.
Wow.
Okay, Meds, you're forgiven, Meds. But,
Meds, you're forgiven. See what I did for you, Meds?
That's funny.
Oh man.
Like I said, I mean, every single time it's always like, unblock me, and I'm like, look, you were shitty to me in some way or another, so that's how you got blocked. But like, I'm forgiving. I'm a forgiving person. I'm not gonna hold too many grudges. So hit me up if you think that you deserve to be unblocked.
See, I'll try my best to relay the message. You know what I mean? If you're a good person, I'll vouch for you. All right?
Cool.
So $5 from King Kovu. Wonder if Alex's nose hurts from all that white girl you meet while your girl's sitting on my face.
Oh my goodness.
All right, I'm at now.
All right, Jason, we appreciate you coming by.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Have a good night, man.
All right, man.
I mean, you're talking about your white girl. Yeah, I'm taking her too. Don't worry.
Oh my god.
I'll give her. Listen. I'll give her what you can't give her. A real man. It's fine.
Talking about the Hannah Montana, dog. You already know what's going on.
All right, yo, big shout out to Jason Schreier for pulling up on the podcast. I see some of y'all in the chat were a little, you know what I mean? They don't like professional Press Start podcasts, but you know, we gotta cool it down when we got some guests so we can have more guests in the future. But hopefully you guys did like him on the podcast. I thought he brought a different perspective and answering some certain questions. So
you actually learned a couple of words today you can use in your regular life now instead of the same 4 words you use every day. Good job.
Yeah, he only could stay for an hour. He told me prior he stayed for a little bit longer, so I appreciate that. And hopefully maybe one time we'll get him on another time, and maybe we'll get others on the podcast as it grows. All right, so back to the regular. I think we got about an hour left or 45 minutes left. So back to some topics, because some things I kind of turboed through because I knew he wasn't going to be here for long. There's some things that I do want to come back to, and let's come back to that Inside Xbox real quick. You know what I mean, J-Man, we got to return to that. So can you list off some of the games that they showed at this Inside Xbox?
Yeah.
Well,
I got the whole list right here. So the first game that they showed was that first-person shooter / melee combat game. It's supposed to be made by one person,
which is on Steam right now, J-Man.
It's on Steam.
It's on Steam right now, bro.
It's been out for a year.
What
Is that the one that Chinese
fuck?
dude made? Is that the
Dude,
one?
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on. Right Memory was early access 2 years ago. It was released like 6 months ago as a full game. It's going on mobile. Like, you guys are behind.
Yo, you know what's
I'm not
crazy?
behind.
Like I
This
Has
was,
is-
anybody played and liked the game? Is my question.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Like, I even did a Steam recommends video on it. Like, you guys are fucking way behind.
So why are they showing stuff like this in a showcase like this? Like,
Because this is the first time it's coming to console. But it's coming to everything. It's
you know,
not
you know,
Steam.
you know what's
I ain't gonna- I
funny?
ain't
Yeah,
gonna
I
problem.
forgot.
I ain't gonna
I
problem.
did tune into like press Planet Xbox because I obviously knew Smooth had like a lot to say. I was listening to what those guys were saying. I think somebody on the panel said that shit looked next gen. I'm like, yo, only if this guy knew this shit is like a year old.
I
on
thought that shit
PC,
was some
bro.
Titanfall 2 DLC. Y'all. They putting cars in Titanfall. I ain't know what the fuck that shit was.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be some sort of combo base, like melee shooting type of game, and it's created by one person. When I seen it, I wasn't really blown away. It didn't really do nothing for me. What else? What else they show?
Dirt 5 was announced. That game's supposed to give you the option to play at 4K 60 or 120 FPS. If you a racing fan, then you might fuck with Dirt 5.
Yo, Jack, Aaron Greenberg came out and said that at 60 frames per second is gonna be standard. It's gonna be standard next to
Standard. Wait.
Oh, he said for mo-
He said it.
For
he's
what?
Gonna, he
Talk
said
about
it's
most
gonna,
games?
I think he just said standard. Period. He said it's gonna be standard. So you think he full of shit? That's my question to you, sir.
well,
Mm.
Aaron Greenberg's the same guy that put a score. So what was it? Scorpio? Not one Scorpio. What was it?
It was a
I forgot.
scorpion chip in his mouth. Yes, it was.
Oh, that was the Scorpio. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
most powerful console of all time. He also the person that said he played Destiny 2 4K 60 on the Xbox One X. So he has a track record of being full of shit. So I don't know if we can go off what the man says.
Yo, because there's a lot of promises for these new consoles and when it comes to performance. I really hope they're all true though. Like I'm really hoping these 60 frames per second.
I hope they true
Yeah.
too.
We're
I
gonna
hope they
believe this whole thing again of 6 greater than 4. All these promises until these
Been
games
through
are
it,
running,
man.
the way they're running. Then I'm not gonna believe them.
been through it, yo.
Yeah.
Yep.
J-Man, what else they show?
Scorn, which
Yeah.
I learned that was a game that's already
2
been
years
shown
old.
before.
Yep, 2 years old. It's a horror game, psychological horror. It's basically like a Tool video. You guys never heard of Tool? It's okay. It's a metal band. You'll never listen to them. It's fine.
Yeah. So the fact that they showed this game that has been out already or been played already, and it was a cinematic trailer. They didn't show any really gameplay.
Yeah.
That's the problem I got. Like, what the fuck was the point?
You know why they ain't show no gameplay?
There's a lot of problems. Keep it going. There's more problems.
We definitely have
Chorus.
to have that. We definitely have to have that debate real quick, J-Main. All right, so
Yeah.
I seen other people discussing that what we saw that was gameplay. Like people were actually like fighting over that. So can we get a definition between a trailer and gameplay? Like when somebody says they're doing a gameplay video, what do you
Bro.
expect? Or Jack, let's hear that.
Well,
Let's hear your opinion on that.
Oh,
No, real quick. I just like J Main said earlier, the shit they did with Horizon, like the shit they be doing at Ubisoft conference where they show. When you say you showing the first gameplay, I expect at least 2 to 3 minutes, if not a little bit more, gameplay, and then a trailer after the gameplay. The gameplay leads into the trailer. That shit, that's just a trailer. Like, no, that was not gameplay, yo. That don't cut it with me.
Jeff
know.
Keighley said this is not gameplay.
Yeah, I
Live
think-
on his stream.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, a
Jeff
couple
Keighley was
people.
throwing some shots on that. And overall, like
Ybarra,
yeah,
Albert Pinella.
Albert
Oh, you
Pinello,
were
like
right,
these are
something?
literally people
Yeah.
who worked at Microsoft, but we have like Xbox guys damage controlling like crazy on Twitter saying people are just being mean to Xbox. No, like this was just a bad showing. And Microsoft was caught deleting dislikes. Jack?
Hey,
You know what?
We got Sony disabling dislike.
Yeah, at
likes.
least Microsoft let the dislikes on. Sony just turned them right off.
Yeah, but
I
they
do got a
deleted
quick-
that shit.
I do got a quick thing to say about this and the dick suckers, Xbox dick
Uh-oh.
suckers. They say, well, you Sony guys said that this was a multi-plat show and these games are gonna be everywhere. And why are you? Y'all the same motherfuckers that still blaming Sony for Final Fantasy VII taking so long to come out. You blame them for Shenmue 3. Sony don't own these fucking games, man. So when you slander PlayStation for shit they ain't got no control over, we can do the same, all right?
Hey,
And they
Jack,
do
how
got
was-
control of what they show. So
Jack,
yeah,
how was your 1 hour nap?
1 hour now? Oh, it was good. It was good. I'm just saying, man. Listen, right? Listen.
He
I
up
got
now.
I got time
He's
for the
the
bullshit.
no.
I got time for the bullshit. I was trying to let Jason do his thing, you know what I mean? But y'all can't do that, man. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So pretty much, Kofi, to answer your question, a trailer is just like short extractions from the game and shit like that, all pieced together into one. So
The
when you tell me it's
montage,
going to be a gameplay trailer, I'm thinking that you're going to have short extractions from the game. But what they did is like very short, like fucking 3 seconds short here and there. I
was like
want to
what-
see a couple minutes.
Right? It was the top-down twin stick shooter, and then the one that looked like Astral Chain.
Yeah, those two were the best. Like in terms of those type of gameplay trailers, those were the two best examples right there of having those short extractions, but giving you good examples of what you're going to actually be doing within the game. Giving you 15 seconds here, 15 seconds here, 30 seconds of that. Like those show very good clips of gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of people were debating on that after the show. But J-Man, back to the announcements. What else they show, man?
After that, it was a game called Chorus.
Okay, that was like the flight
That looks
game,
fucking
right?
good. That
Yeah.
looks fucking good.
Yeah.
I still need to see more of it, to be honest. I can't. I need to see more.
It's just a good fucking space fucking flight. It looks fucking good. Although it's probably going to be on the Epic Game Store because it's fucking Deep Silver. So I expect it there in the beginning and then coming back to Steam later. So yeah.
Yeah.
What else they show?
Next was Madden NFL 21.
Bro, look. Okay, even showing Madden was a joke in itself, but the way they built up this trailer was like one of the worst trailers I've ever seen. So they pretty much went through the history of Madden or football games, right? They went from when it was like 16-bit all the way up to current gen. Then they do Madden 21 and J-Man, I kid you, you were there with me, bro. They literally showed 3 seconds of Madden 21, bro, and called that gameplay, bro.
Had the Super Bowl MVP up there lying. Did you see the shit about smart-ish delivery? That's going on?
I saw that.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Explain that. Yeah, I didn't see
So smart delivery, as we know, is if you buy the game on last generation, when you get your new generation version, like you'll be able to get that copy for free. Well, EA came out and was like, "There's a window to that. You have to buy the game by December of this year, and then as far as redeeming your next generation version, it has to be by March of 2021. After that, you should out of luck."
3
So you
months.
mean like this generation when they did the upgrades?
Yeah.
Right.
So they're giving you a time. They're giving you a time window when you can actually do the upgrade, or you're screwed, right?
Right.
I
Pretty
knew
much.
it was going to be publisher based. I knew it. It was going to be by publisher,
Oh man.
Which they said, but it's like,
but it's going to be by publisher, and EA is going to abuse it, and so are so many other publishers too, because they're not.
But I got a
free.
question. I got a question though. If I buy Madden 21 for the Xbox One or PlayStation 4, I buy a PS5 or in Series X. You're telling me I just can't pop? Like, shouldn't I be able to just pop in my discs and that one and it work anyway? So why should I? Why should I buy the upgraded
Yeah,
version?
it's supposed to be. Backwards
Isn't it backwards compatible?
my thinking is that you'll have to. Damn, like how's that gonna work?
That's what I'm saying. That don't even make
that's a
sense
good
to me.
question.
I guess it's gonna have a next.
So
gen
unless they snake you somehow where they do not give you like some sort of next gen pass, or the game don't even work at all. Who knows?
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna put the next generation patch on the store. It's gonna be free, but you're gonna have to get it from the store, and that's how they're gonna be able to justify that window of 3 months. You're gonna have to go in the store, redeem your next generation version, and that'll download the patch probably to your game. Once that 3 months is up, it'll probably get removed from the store. So when you put your disc in, after that time period, you won't get the update. It won't like push the update to you unless you redeem it from the store.
J-Man, that's so goofy, bro.
Listen,
That's so goofy.
Get yourself a PC, man, because it works every time.
So if they're gonna do this upgrade paywall shit, then that's kind of crazy. Because
That's crazy, man.
by looking at like what Microsoft showed today, if this is gonna be the first year, of these next generation consoles, because these are multiplats, it's some spooky times ahead of
Papa
us,
Phil
bro.
couldn't work that out.
Some spooky times ahead of us,
I
bro.
was told smart delivery was the future and it was all knowing and great. Shame on PlayStation for not doing it, but it sound like it ain't same
I
shit
know.
they was doing last generation. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. All right. What else is there, J-Man?
After Madden, we had got the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines
There you
2.
go. Now that's a fucking video
Them
game.
graphics were fucking horrible.
Yeah,
that shit look like PS3 game,
they did
dog.
look bad though. It did
That
look
shit
bad.
looked like PS2, man.
It
I'm
did
like,
look-
yo,
I'm like, yo, what's
Yo.
I'm like, yo, Jack, is this Saints Row 2, nigga? Like, what's up?
bro, that shit look horrible, dog.
Nobody gives a shit about the visuals. That game is all about the story, the RPG, and the mechanics. my boy.
I've heard of the series and people are super like hyped for it, so it might be something good. Though.
Nobody gives a it could look like fucking 8-bit.
That shit
Nobody
look like
gives a
Gumby, my guy. I
all
was
about
like,
fighting.
You know-
and it's all about the gameplay.
You know what, Alex? You're right. It is all about the gameplay. Too bad they didn't show it.
yeah, I know, right?
They fucking didn't. They really fucking didn't.
Motherfucker dancing at a party, twirling around with ramen.
That was
noodle
Joker
hair.
for the for a quick
Yeah,
second.
in fact, I'm like, damn, they got a Joker game coming out. That shit
Yeah, I
look
thought
lit.
yo at first that's what I was saying. Yo, Jay, I was like, yo, is this a Joker or some shit? Like, what is this?
This shit look fire. Okay.
What else, Jay, man?
Oh, Bioshock or something? What the fuck that shit
It
was?
was a terrible fucking trailer to show. It looked really bad, but you know what? If you never played the original Vampire and the Masquerade, highly suggest you do so. It's one of the best written RPGs ever made. And then you go off, you'll be excited about this one, and you wouldn't give a fuck about what it looks like.
What else they show, Jay, man?
Then we got the spiritual successor spinoff to Sea of Thieves, Call of Sea.
Bro, I thought there was Sea of Thieves, yo.
Yeah.
Fam. When I
So,
see, I'm like,
the,
yo,
art, the art style and stuff was cool, but like then again, like I don't understand what you're even doing in the game. Is it a puzzle game?
I think you're looking
Yeah.
for somebody that's lost, like you just check. You look
Oh,
for this
so
dude.
pretty much
And
Firewatch.
then, like,
So
you become,
Firewatch.
like, a grenade or some shit. Yeah.
As soon as I saw the visuals, I had forgot. Like they said, no first. I just automatically thought it was Sea of Thieves. I tuned out. I just stopped paying attention. I'm like, this
You
shit.
said,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't have no opinion on it because
It looked like fire. It do remind me of a Firewatch type narrative driven. Yeah.
Yeah, if
puzzle.
it's that, I'm definitely good. Jamie.
Yeah. The next we had the Ascent, which looks like a top-down twin stick shooter RPG in a cyberpunk world.
I gotta have an argument with Kofi real quick. What is it? Okay. Why are you turning into that kind of guy who says
no, I'm
once you get a
not. So what?
vision-
You know
Hold
I'm
on,
not.
hold
So relax. So
Wait,
relax.
wait.
No, what
What
happened?
happened?
What happened? What happened?
Do I have to pull up your stream with the receipt on where you were like, man, top down bullshit again?
You know,
Oh,
listen.
yeah.
Can I explain? You know why?
Explain
Because
it to me,
the
because
way that
all of a
trailer,
sudden you become one of these
No.
dudes that only like
the
top
way,
down game.
no, the way, dog, I'm like dabbling in Gears Tactics, trying to finish that up. So that's not even the case. Just the way that the game was shown, right? I was actually intrigued, Jay, man. At first, I'm like, yo, what is this? Yo, they got this whole cyberpunk, the world look cool. So in my mind, at that moment, I thought that game was gonna be something different. So when it
Like
turned out
what?
to be a twin stick shooter, I was a little disappointed. That's all, bro. That's all it is,
What
bro.
were you expecting?
I thought it was gonna be some sort of like, you know, open world cyberpunk type of RPG type of game or
What
some shit.
camera?
I think we got a game like that coming out, Kofi.
Yeah, I
Cyberpunk.
thought we were gonna get another one because this one looked kind of cool
I
though,
mean, you
bro.
need, my man.
Play
Can't do it.
Cyberpunk, you could play Ghost Runner. You could play all kinds of games.
Ghost Runner.
Yeah, I heard.
By the
Ghost-
way, shameless plug: Ghost Runner, Steam recommends on my YouTube channel. You should check it out.
yeah, so
That game
I know.
look lit.
I just didn't expect it to be a twin stick shooter. Which I even
But
at
why-
the end of that, I never said it was bad. I'm like, it's cool, but I
why
thought it was
were
gonna be something
were you
else.
disappointed at a top-down perspective? That's what I want to figure out, Kofi.
Because I was
That's the-
expecting it to be something else. It's just that simple. I was expecting it to be something else. That's
You
all.
were looking for third-person cover-based stealth mechanics.
Here we
Sony
go.
gameplay.
Oh man! So you're
Fire.
saying
You're
fucking
you're saying that I'm
Sony.
becoming one of them Sony mans you hate, then, right?
You
Pretty
becoming
much.
that Shoney man.
I love twin stick shooters. I don't know if we can claim.
Hold on, Melon Matt saying he never gonna play Vampire the Masquerade is because you have to read, motherfucker. You can't read. Shout out
Yeah.
to Melon Matt. By the way, hooked on phonics working for me.
Damn, yo, why you pull up a man like that, man?
Yeah, Alex doing Melon Matt dirty. Jesus.
Just roasted the dog shit out my man. What's
Oh
going on?
shit! Look, I've had 4 of these. Okay, we were on there.
Oh shit. That's fire.
Yo, this guy.
Next we saw the Medium, next generation psychological horror game.
Same kind of style as like what was it? Silent Hill.
Yeah, I think the dude that did the soundtrack for Silent Hill is making this. the soundtrack for this, or something along those lines. So definitely piqued my interest. I want to see more.
Bro,
we only got about 3 seconds.
Yo,
of gameplay,
was that the
but-
pregnant chick?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was listen to this. I was feeling the trailer until someone in the chat said it. Yo, it's by the creators of Blair Witch, and I'm like, ooh. Ooh, so we gotta hold up for that one, man. We actually might have to wait on some reviews and some proper gameplay. But it said it is like what, inspired or by Silent Hill or something like that. So I'm gonna keep my eye on it, but it's not something that I went crazy over when I saw it. So I don't know, man. But Blair Witch.
Say something melon quiet now.
First of all,
Yo, I know I missed some super chats, guys. I know I missed some super chats, and I'm gonna read all of the super chats before the podcast over. All right, I'm gonna read all the super chats before the podcast done.
Let the chat.
Next,
listen, Melon Matt, we're just fucking around. It's fine.
Next up, we saw Scarlet Nexus, that Bandai Namco game.
I tuned out when that came on.
Facts.
Really?
It looked like Astral Chain to me.
Really?
I ain't gonna hold you.
See, this is one of the games that actually caught my interest.
I'm sorry. The Astral Chain.
The anime game.
Okay, the weird plants with feet.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with it.
I thought it looked decent, bro. See, out of all the games that impressed me, the fucking anime game impressed me, yo. Like, I thought that shit looked pretty decent. I want to see more of it, though. I want to see more. It could turn out to be trash, you know what I mean? But I definitely want to see more. What?
Still cooking melon in the chat.
What else?
It could be trash, but I want to see more.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you never know with the Bandai Namco, because Code Vein looked incredible, right? Initially, when the game came out, it turned out to be like solid. It turned out to be a good game, but not amazing. So I just need to see more gameplay to confirm if this game's gonna be it. So
yeah. And then we had Second Extinction, which was that first person.
Let's go. This is the only game
that a co-op game.
It looked like a co-op game, but
co-op.
I think. When you shooting the dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah, I'll just fuck with the dinosaurs, bro.
Okay, I know what you're talking.
Yo, Jack, go watch the 4K trailer. That shit kind of look kind of lit for a co-op game,
I'm gonna look at
bro.
the 4K trailer.
Go look at the 4K trailer. That shit actually look kind of lit, bro.
What if it's just Turok?
Like, I kind of
miss.
miss.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's what I thought it was.
You know, at first I'm like, I'm seeing dinosaurs and shit. I'm like, yo, when's the last time we really got like a dinosaur game like this? I don't know.
Turok.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
This just looked like a wave-based dinosaur game. It don't look like it has
like a story. Like, it's not story driven,
yeah,
right?
Like, give me Dino Crisis. Yo, fuck this shit.
Dino Crisis, huh?
Crisis would be good.
Yeah, but I definitely want to see more. I thought the graphics looked good, especially in the 4K trailer that I watched, and it looked like it could be fun. Still, it looked like it could be fun.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see though.
And then we had the game where don't play on your PlayStation because you didn't see gameplay, according to Kid Smooth. Yakuza Like a Dragon. They showed that.
Did anyone tell Smooth that game is out? The game's already out.
That game's already out, right?
Yeah, I think he deleted that tweet still. That tweet was funny as hell, yo. I'm like, what's the nigga Smooth talking about, bro? Yo, that nigga was mad today, bro. You can tell that boy was mad. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be tweeting.
Apparently he tweeted out a huge spoiler for the last one.
Yeah,
so
he tweeted out.
If you follow Smooth, go mute him or block him right now.
Oh, you didn't see it, Jack? You didn't see the tweet?
I didn't see it because
but even if Jack saw the tweet, he wouldn't understand what's going on.
Bond put it in the DMs like Smooth spoiling the last one because he mad about Xbox being shit or something like that. Then I went to Discord. I had like 3 ads. They was like, bro, block Smooth right now. Bro, I'm like, what the fuck going on?
Did you block him?
I muted him, but I should have blocked his nut ass. He wildin'.
Jack, don't be a bitch. Block him right now.
Nah,
it wasn't a real spoiler anyway.
That's his podcast.
Oh no,
I
can't block him. I just thought about it.
That's his podcast name, man.
Yeah, it's gonna kick him out the DMs. I need to block him.
Oh, you're the head of the DMs. Okay, that makes sense.
Don't block Smooth, man. But
just apologized on Sunday. What the fuck?
Like that one time Kofi blocked me because I wanted him to play Dota with me.
Did I block you?
You fucking blocked me. That's not the DMs because I told you to play Dota.
Let's go. That sounds right. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds right. Justifiable.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I'm gonna have to block Alex again just for no reason, bro. Just block his ass.
Damn.
What else they show, Jamie?
Last but not least, actually it was least, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Which looked like current gen and they didn't show shit. They didn't show shit at all.
That wasn't even gameplay, yo.
They said it was gameplay at different camera angles and shit like that.
Oh, okay. Cinematic gameplay. All right.
So what it was what Shinobi doing the fucking gifs that he makes on Twitter? Is that what it was?
Pretty much, bro. Pretty sure, but I don't know, man. This shit it's not doing nothing for me, man. It's not doing nothing for me. I don't know if I said it on last episode's podcast, but I already addressed my grievances with Assassin's Creed. But it seems like some of it's getting sorted out. We seen a tweet today that this Assassin's Creed is actually going to be smaller than the previous entry, Odyssey. Good. Because people were complaining about that, and that was like one of my main complaints about Assassin's Creed. The games were big for no reason. It's kind of designed in a way to put you to purchase microtransactions, being grindy. You get to certain places that forces you to do side quests and these crazy ass level jumps and shit like that. So I don't know where I don't know where they're gonna take this one, but hopefully it's improved, because this new direction with Assassin's Creed, I'm not really a fan of it, and it's not really doing nothing for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to see gameplay, but it looks like we're gonna have to wait till Ubisoft probably has their show or something like that.
Yeah. So now
that was it.
So now we just gotta wait for next month and July for more information. Microsoft is doing a thing called Xbox 20 for 20, where they're gonna be doing a quote unquote big announcement. You never know with Microsoft, but they're gonna be doing a big announcement every month until the launch of the Series X. So we're gonna get some sort of news in June. But in July, they did confirm that we're gonna have a press conference where they're gonna showcase their Xbox Game Studio games, and this is where they got a hit. Like, for real, like, this shit was so ass. This is where they got a hit. Jack, if Microsoft fucks up their July event, is it over? Is it over? It's already spooky for them, but is it over, man, if they fuck up that event?
No, bro? Because there's a word called wait, right? Wait, have patience. It's gonna give field time. You know, the narratives, it's been there. They're trying. And they don't have the heavy hitters, which Halo's in development hell. Apparently, I don't know if that's true or not. But if they don't have a good showing of Halo, they're gonna show Forza. After Halo and Forza, it's gonna be pure bullshit. Okay, you're gonna get grounded. You're gonna get this other bullshit they got coming out.
Wait. I believe during the Inside Xbox, they confirmed that Ninja Theory was gonna be there, so we might get a look at Hellblade. Okay, right? We need that.
Hellblade.
I'm just hoping that they finally learn what gameplay means by the time this event comes, so we can actually see some gameplay of Hellblade.
The streets need that.
They also said that something about Obsidian as well. I recall, right, J-Man? Didn't Aaron Greenberg say something like Obsidian's going to be
Obsidian is making Grounded, though.
Dog, if they show Grounded at this event, Jack,
they gonna show Grounded,
oh my god,
come on, man.
If they show Grounded,
as long as these terms exist, they'll always have chances.
Grounded will be there.
Damn, they show Grounded.
Here's my thing. I'm gonna shit on this Xbox event because it was a bad event. There was no gameplay. But I want to make it very clear. I'm going to look at the camera when I say this. When I shit on Sony's event for not showing gameplay either, don't fucking come at me. Because I shit on everybody. They're both going to get it.
Jack, you hear that? He said keep that same energy, Jack. One PlayStation comes out these cinematic trailers and shit. Keep that same energy.
If PlayStation come out and say witness the first PlayStation 5 gameplay at this event and they show a whole bunch of bullshit, have at it. I'm gonna be with you. Shit, I might crack a beer open. You know what I mean?
Keep that.
You don't even have to look far. When they fucking was teasing the first look at first notes of PlayStation 5, and then they came out with that damn tech talk with Mark Cerny. Everybody fucking roasted them for that. So it's not even like Sony is immune to the criticism. I can't stand people, my mentions, talk about what has PlayStation shown. Nothing. But this wasn't a PlayStation show.
Yeah,
it was Xbox.
See, that's
criticizing Xbox.
See, J-Man, that's called deflection. It's a common technique within the fanboys. It's called deflection. We're focused on a single topic. We're talking about Xbox. Then what they come to damage control is, what about PlayStation? What about Nintendo? What about this and that? Like, no, we're not talking about these platforms. And that's what they do, bro. That's what they do.
Only person you can blame for this is Xbox. They said first game. If they would have just said tune into a new
Inside
opposite
Xbox.
planet.
Inside Xbox. That's it.
New looks at unannounced or games coming to the Xbox One.
Xbox.
Third party.
Yeah.
That's it.
It
That's
would have
it.
been great.
That's it.
You know what, Jack? If they didn't promote this as the Xbox, the first look at Series Xbox gameplay, and they just said, okay, this is an Inside Xbox May. I think this would probably been one of the better Inside Xboxes, because Inside Xbox has been like pure garbage, like pure trash. This probably would have been one of the better ones, but they kind of hyped it up to be like, yo, first look, Series X gameplay. I think Microsoft was making some real flagrant tweets. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Big deal out of this shit.
They did some They made
this
such
wasn't
flagrant
that, yo.
tweet, yo, and so they hyped this shit up, and it didn't deliver. And hey, the dislike bar says it all. You know what I mean? The dislike bar says it all.
They made that bed though. All these months, they've been killing the Xbox Series X announcements, talking about the teraflops, how powerful it is, and stuff like that. So when you tell us this is going to be the first look, we expect it to be blown away.
That's
we
my
expected
biggest
to see
issue
this
with them,
gameplay that we ain't never seen before. Shit, that's going to be like, damn, that's 12 teraflops, bro. That shit, I couldn't play that on my Xbox One X. Xbox One X.
Exactly. Everything they showed like it could be played on current gen.
Everything was underwhelming.
Even if it wasn't first party, I understand like this was third party, but still, you don't set it up like that.
That's why I feel like, yo, this show really did not need to happen. Like, this is good, filler content for their main show. I think they should have just included it in one big show, and probably people would have walked away with a better impression. Especially if your main show is gonna have all the good looking games and stuff. This
was all sizzle reel shit. Like, this could have been all in a fucking 2-minute sizzle reel, dog.
Yeah,
and would have had the same effect.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't know. J-Main, you got incredibly lucky. You didn't make that Last of Us bet with me, bro.
Actually, Nintendo got incredibly scared, and they didn't want to announce the first 3 days for Animal Crossing.
So J-Main was, hinting that he would like to make a bet that The Last of Us Part 2 is going to sell more copies than Animal Crossing within like the first week or first 3 days or whatever.
First 3 days. Wait.
What's the bet again?
Last of Us
would sell more than Animal Crossing in the first 3 days.
And he dodged the bullet. It's good that he didn't take the bet, because we got to report that Animal Crossing has sold 13.4 million units so far. And its first 11 days, it sold 11 million units, which is absolutely stupid.
So we could make like the crude math that it's 3 million in 3 days.
It probably did way more than
for
that,
Animal
bro.
Crossing.
It probably did more than that, bro.
If
it did 11 and 11, that's the only way you can.
11 and 11, you could do crude. I'm saying crude math. You could do three like basic fucking like third grade Mississippi.
I mean, that's the average. Yeah.
It'd be a million a day.
I like that math.
You
hear that, Kofi? You hear that? 3 million in 3 days.
Nah. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You know why I don't agree with that? Because the Japan numbers came out and it was 2.5 in 3 days.
In a week.
Was it in
a week?
I swear it was 3 days.
What day did it come out? A week could be the last 3 days.
No, it was 3 days.
So here's the thing. You can't do that math, because it could have been like 2.5 in the first 2 days and then 500,000. Like, it could have been a whole bunch of different numbers those each days. But like, people, of course, who never graduated 5th grade in this chat would probably do some math like that in the first place, because this chat is this chat, by the way.
You're gonna fuck around, stop watching us. How you go on this and these niggas, I'm telling
that
you,
ain't
bro.
us, man. We don't reflect.
Y'all take y'all rage. Y'all take y'all rage on Alex's channel. All right, y'all take y'all rage on this. He does not represent.
You don't understand what I'm doing. Listen. You have to listen to my plan. Okay, here's my plan.
What's your plan? What's your plan?
My plan is to get the chat so angry that the only way we respond to the chat is when they donate to us. Therefore, they have to donate for us to respond.
I'm good. I don't need all of that.
Send your roast to the Patreon. I see Patreon.
I don't need that. That's all Alex's plan.
Roasting them. See, when you smart.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on, Kofi. Here we go. Animal Crossing is it New Horizons? Is that the new one?
Yeah, New Horizon.
Yeah, so more than 2.6 million copies. It was physical, but it was within the first 10 days. It was 10 days.
That was 10 days?
That was 10 days. Physical only, though. So digital, definitely, you got to account for that, too.
Okay.
But, I don't know. I would listen. If they drop the first 3 days, I'm still taking that bet. These crybaby, not my Last of Us 2 people on YouTube not scaring me. The game is still going to do numbers. Yeah, you know what I mean? It did suck because the people who probably couldn't even recite the story for The Last of Us if you had a conversation with them. And you know what's funny? I'm starting to learn that the more I'm conversing with people on the internet, they don't fucking know the story of The Last of Us.
They didn't play it, bro.
They fucking want to
A lot
make
of
you
people
believe
didn't.
in their videos. These motherfuckers don't know
A lot
shit.
of people are definitely clout chasing. A lot of people never played The Last of Us. You know, we got people with the utmost criticism with the game, but they didn't even play it, or they beat it on like normal,
or they
some
didn't
shit.
give a fuck about it when it
Yeah.
was out. They don't like it.
Yeah, but they have the most to say about it. You know what I mean? So
Here's the
Right. I had somebody, hold up, real quick. I had somebody tell me if Marlene was such a leader for the Fireflies, how come she didn't just lead Ellie to the Capitol building? Motherfucker, she was fucking wounded. Did y'all pay attention to the story? She was wounded. How is she gonna lead a child, while being wounded and hunted down by the military at the same time?
Here's the interesting part. As someone who's
don't
been
pay
very,
attention.
as someone who's been very vocal about their dislike for The Last of Us, I have not made one single video about the storyline for The Last of Us and being upset about it, because it's the one thing they can probably do right that fucking game.
I can appreciate that. Thank you.
There you go. So if I do that, then everybody else is a fuck nut too.
Yeah. So they did release a new trailer. I think this is gonna be the final one before release. Jack, have you watched it?
Ooh, I had to watch that thing, baby. God damn.
What do you think? You excited?
I ain't Tajay moments. I ain't gonna cry like a little bitch. But listen, that shit happened, dog. It
Shout out to
happened.
Tajay.
Yeah, Tajay, you my man. You wildin' though, Chief. I didn't, I didn't got a little.
That was that
emotional
video
game.
that some dude crying or some shit, right?
Bro,
Yeah, that was Tajay.
you like this shit real? This shit really real? I'm like, what the fuck?
Yo, people be doing
I
that.
thought I was mentally unstable. What the fuck going on, man? But maybe that's how I was feeling. I just couldn't express it. But that trailer, I ain't gonna get too much into it because I know people don't like spoilers. They don't want to know what the fuck in the trailer. I'm liking it, dog. I'm really, really looking forward to the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it seems like the leaks have slowed down, J-Main. It's been a couple of days. We haven't seen anything or heard
My
anything
source been dry. They did post one more clip that actually it was funny because the clip actually takes place within the new trailer that they put out.
Okay.
So I won't say anything, of course, about it, but that was like 4 or 5 days ago. So it seems like it's dried up.
What's funny is the trailer had a lot of the leaks in it.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer period had a lot of shit that's already been out, even in other
It had
trailers.
a lot of the leaks in it.
I think they did that on purpose. I kind of feel like they did that on
It
purpose.
really did.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good trailer though. The game looks fucking dark. It looks brutal.
It's very brutal.
It looked depressed. Like, well, last was one that's fucking depressing, but this shit looked like some
way more depressing.
What I took from this trailer too, and it brought me back to the first Last of Us, is that that period, of course, with that 20 years that we don't get to see what happened from Joel after his daughter dies, and then when you pick up when he at the beginning of Last of Us, that period where Joel is pretty much doing what he has to do to survive, whether it be morally correct or not. He wasn't quote unquote a good person. He had to bend the rules and do things that weren't ethically right to get shit done in his terms. What I'm seeing from Ellie in these trailers is that I think she's gonna be like borderline doing shit that we're gonna be like, yo, was that really necessary, Ellie? Like, did you have to do that? I understand you on your quest for revenge. It looks like to me that she is just like
she on some borderline 100.
So
she's not holding back. She just
the only way that would work is if you saw the dichotomy between Joel doing it and her doing it. Then that would really be like a linchpin. If you could see the differences, if you were able to play those two scenarios out back to back and see how she is becoming like Joel, but moving through that space, then that would work in that storyline. The question is, usually the second chapter of games is the dark middle chapter. Mass Effect 2 showed that specifically. Star Wars Chapter 2 showed that specifically, right? So when you're looking at that, the second chapter is usually the dark middle, and then you have the recumbent end. So you're going to have to see some things that happen very drastically in characters in that second middle chapter of these games or books or movies or things like that. So you're going to have to see her devolve into something like that. It's a natural progression.
Yeah.
I do wish the first one did kind of show us how Joel was, because they hinted at it several times. I mean, from the beginning of the game, what Tess talks about, they're not good people. from when the hunters tried to ambush him and Ellie in the car, and he drove past them, and he's like, I've been on both sides of this. Like, I know what time it is when they're trying to, trick us and thinking that they need help, and we ambush them and steal all this shit.
Yeah, they definitely
when he finally gets to Jackson with Tommy, and Tommy's like, I still have nightmares about that shit, and Joel's like, I saved your life pretty much, and he's like, I didn't look at it like that. Like, it's stuff throughout the whole game where it's like Joel was this dude that was ruthless and a savage, and I wish they did show us a little bit more.
They still have stories to tell if they wanted to. Like, I feel like they could even tell more of Joel's storyline. Like, that's a good thing about it. They left like a huge gap in time since the outbreak happened. So who knows? Maybe we'll revisit some of Joel's earlier stories.
But then
later.
Can I ask a question? Is Joel really the main character?
Oh, this new game?
The new game?
Oh, the new game
No.
is obviously it's gonna be Ellie.
Oh, overall.
What I'm asking you isn't if Last of Us is going to be a trilogy, who's the main character? It's not Joel.
It's Ellie.
Well, it's always about Ellie's
It's
journey,
Ellie,
her
right?
story. Yeah.
Right. So then, what happens to Joel is not irrelevant, but it should be supplementary to what happens to Ellie. Think of Star Wars, right? You've got Luke and you've got Darth Vader. What happened to Darth Vader? How did he become that way? Then you have Luke following that same path. It has to happen that same way if you're going to write it properly. But that's just that concept, though. But who knows what
I
they'll
would
do.
even argue that Ellie's not even the main character of Last of Us. But that's I would just say the world of The Last of Us is the main character of Last of Us.
She's immune.
Yeah,
but the game is about surviving within this world. So you see everybody, right? But everybody has their own story about what they feel is correct to them within the world of The Last of Us.
You know what I'm saying? But she's immune.
Yeah.
So what's funny about
but okay, go ahead, Jack.
No, I was gonna say what's funny about the marketing of this game is that I forget, like, they don't really even show like clickers and the infected a lot with the marketing of this game. It's really about the human conflict. So they just show you, like, I think somebody else said, like, it's really like the humans are the most dangerous. Fucking mankind is more dangerous than all this other shit they facing. Like, they ain't even tripping off the clickers right now. It's just it's interesting the way they market in this game.
Jack, that's literally like every zombie movie ever made.
Yeah, that the people are the ones that turn out bad, like The Walking Dead.
It's interesting the way they market. We're not gonna compare The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead,
The Walking Dead is garbage, but like
it was fire for some time, man.
Every zombie movie or show is about
bro.
like how humans are the worst.
Yeah, of course, but I think it's interesting the way they're marketing.
All right, let me read up some of these super chats. We got one from Red Hood 420 says, "Watch Clone Wars. Final season was fire."
I haven't watched Clone Wars at all.
Okay. Flaffy says, "Kiss move spoiled. Block his musty ass." Okay, I already answered. This one was a question for Jason about Destiny 260 frames. I already asked that. This one's from Rafe the Emperor. He says, okay, Jason Schreier needs to return to Weapon Wheel Podcast to put Smooth in his place for talking greasy about him. Give him that work. And what's up to the panel? Love and respect. Appreciate you, Rafe. This one's from Trago. He says, question for Jason. Where did the nickname Press Sneak Fuck come from? What? I don't get it.
Excuse me?
Press Sneak.
That must be from the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Press Sneak Fuck?
That's what he wrote. Press Sneak Fuck. Okay.
Press Sneak Fuck.
I don't get it.
Rock,
Kid
paper,
Smooth.
shotgun.
Kid Smooth says, shout out to the soft fellas. So shout out to Smooth, man. The Trigger
Hey,
Man
shout out to
says,
Smooth for getting fucking doxxed on Twitter. Smooth move, bro.
oh,
He got
you got doxxed?
He knew what was gonna happen, bro.
You got
Come on,
doxxed?
fam.
Oh man, they do.
I think somebody said they put his phone on. Smooth, come on, bro. You intentionally went in to anger a group of people that they don't act rational when they get angry, bro. It was bound to happen.
That's why I be picking and choosing sometimes my battles.
They'd had to
I
be
know
you,
motherfuckers
man.
is crazy.
Streets got to eat, my man. Hate had to be you, dog.
The Trigger Man says, these boring question. Why was Sean Layden let go? I already asked that, and he doesn't know. Like, you gotta understand, Jason probably doesn't know fucking every single thing that's happening ever in gaming. You know what I mean? A1 Knowledge. Attempted to come outside in these Last of Us streets until J-Main warned me how real it was and had to shut the front door. Thanks again, homie, for the heads up.
Is he calling me a clicker?
Nah, I think you warned him.
He said you put
He's
him on
saying
game
thank
about
you
the
for letting him
spoilers,
know not to.
Go outside.
Oh, I was about to say, dog.
Yeah.
Calling me a clear.
Be respectful.
This one is from Red Hood 420. It's PlayStation having an event May 21st. Edge Magazine. I think I asked something about that with Jason. I said he said he believes something in early June. He said.
Yeah.
Okay. I already asked this question. Already read that one. This one is from Red Hood again. He says, "Will Rocksteady's game be showing off?" I think we talked about that already. Okay, I think Alex read the one about the nose and the white girl.
Yeah, I'm a fucking girl, bro.
Unforgiven says you'll pay $10 to reblock meds. Jason.
Hey,
Wonton Soup 2 says, Kofi, I'll donate $100 if you mute Alex on next podcast. I might have to do that. Your boy Roy.
Listen, I want to do that. Look, show me the money first.
Your boy Roy says, Kofi's out here doing God's work. LOL. Notorious Nicholas says, congrats to PSP for having a big guest like Jason. July is truly the last chance Microsoft got. No more wait until E3 for them anymore. I agree. E-Rock says, Kofi, talk about how you a bum at Forza. My nigga, you got Blaze every time. So don't be talking shit, E-Rock. E-Rock be talking all this shit, but he be right behind me. Pause. He be behind me in these races.
Is it true that Xbox games are the worst at Forza? I'm hearing the Xbox gamers.
You know, all right, so this is what happened. I'm sorry I had to put Death Singer on the spot. He's a known Xbox dude, right? So he pulled up,
big Xbox thing.
So he pulled up the first day, and his performance was lacking. You know, after talking shit that he was gonna blaze people for weeks in Forza. But then I'll give him the next day he came, he played a lot better. So I'm gonna say that he played a lot better the next.
So who's been winning the most, Go? Because when I was in,
who's been winning the most?
Screaming.
Who was winning the most had to be a dude in our Discord called Hyena. He's a beast at racing games. Shout out to him.
I know Hyena. Yeah.
Chance. He's in our Discord as well. He's really good at
video games.
Yeah,
period,
he's really good at fighters. He's a god at fighters, and he's really good at Forza as well. And I'm gonna even give Charles. I would say Charles would be our top three.
Y'all let Charles beat y'all, man.
Yeah, he's actually really good. I would say they're the top three in Forza. In the PSP Discord. Those are the top.
Kiss Move pulled up.
Kiss Move did pull up, and you know what I mean. I don't know, yo. I'm like, yo, we're doing off-road races, and this nigga brings like a fucking McLaren. I'm surprised that he's spinning now. I think after a while he dropped out. He was just getting clapped too much. So you know what I mean. He probably switched up the game or some shit. So
yeah, that's funny.
And I think I answered that. Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Let me see. You get in Dead Island, okay? You ain't getting Dead Island 2, bro. Stop playing yourself. I think I read that. I read that. Yeah, so I think that's all the super chats. If I miss yours, just write it in the comment section. I think there's just one last topic I want to take before we get the hell out of here. Evo has been canceled, but they're going to be doing online events this summer. Also, Paris Games Week 2020 has been canceled, obviously due to the corona and all of that stuff. But this is the last topic I want to talk to, man. Cyberpunk got its ESRB rating. And it's going to let you customize your genitals. And I knew this was going to be Alex's favorite topic, so I wanted to bring it up. Alex.
Yes. Listen, I'm going to make
what you making?
What you making? I'm making a thick as fuck girl with a big dick right on that.
Oh, my God.
I want that. Listen, I want her junk so big it needs its own dice roll, my boy. I want a fucking roll in the front and just a fat ass in the back and big old titties. And I'm gonna fucking walk around. I'm gonna get a third person mod, #NutsGang, like Jay Smooth be putting up in the chat. Yo, this game gonna be crazy good. Cannot wait for this game, dude.
Of course, Alex. Of course.
Oh my God.
You know, honestly, Cyberpunk is honestly becoming one of my most anticipated games. Like, I'm just really hoping it delivers. Like, you know what I mean? The world that it's offering, like, I'm just really like interested. I'm really interested.
Wait, can you name your character in Cyberpunk, or is it always me?
I think you can.
Oh yeah,
Alex. Shout out to the Ravenflow saying my third leg gonna be popping in Cyberpunk. You know it.
Alex definitely created it. It's ma'am.
Yeah. Cyberfuda 2077 guaranteed. Ravenflow says piston dick. That's
we got another super chat from AKR. He says, if you love The Last of Us, read the Road novel. It's fire.
The Road is literally Last of Us.
That's the movie.
What it is.
It was The Last of Us was heavily inspired by the road. They did mention that. No Country for Old Men, shit like that.
Heavily inspired.
Okay.
I blame Tactical Shotgun for No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, and that's it. That's pretty much all the topics we have this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. You know, I try to turbo through as much topics as I want, as I could during, you know, the section that we had Jason on. I try to fit in as much. But I think it came out pretty well overall. You know, we got some pretty cool discussions going.
Yes, sir.
Someone says I missed their super chat real quick. Let me look.
I don't think you missed any of it.
Okay.
Sure.
I think I see one. He says, this one is from RIU. I don't know how to pronounce it. Rue or whatever. I don't know. He says, did y'all notice that every game they showed said footage representative of Series X gameplay? That issue was all on PC.
Agreed. That ish.
There was definitely a lot of fine print in them trailers, bro. A lot of fine print.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the outros. We're gonna start off with Jack, man.
Good podcast this week. Shout out to Jace for coming through, man. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Mixer, Jack Move Johnny. Y'all know how to get in touch with me, man. And we out. Peace.
Alex.
Thanks everybody for coming on and watching. I'm glad y'all learned something today. Learned a couple new words you can use in your daily vocabulary. Tomorrow is CSGO with Fratanga and Mario Sniper, so check me out on Twitch. Saturday, we're finishing up Doom 64, and then we are done with Doom Stream the Series. We're going to be moving on to Splinter Cell, and that whole series will be played as well, so come on out for that. That's going to be good. More spy espionage action on twitch.tv/oh no, it's Alex. So enjoy that.
J May.
Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button, share the stream out before you dip. Again, thank Jason for pulling up, and yeah, catch me on Twitter at jmain518, and I'll catch y'all next week. Be safe.
I want to post this picture before we leave. I want to post it in the thing. I want you guys to see this. I want to put it up. This shit is mad wild, yo. Hold up. Let me see.
What, from Press Start memes?
Nah, it's just a meme. It's just a meme. But look at this shit. This was the game. This was the game, Jack. Right here.
Hold on, what is it?
God.
That's Vampire the
That's
Masquerade.
Vampire.
Hold on, let me put it up for the people to see
What?
Yep. You never seen that?
too. This was the trailer that you're saying that was spooky, bro. Oh man, man's
Okay,
already
I need
making
to
memes.
retweet this. What the fuck is going on? Sheesh.
Yeah, that the
I was
visuals.
giving him too much credit when I said PS3 graphics.
I did that fast.
Jesus.
PS2 graphics. Is that Gladius or is that Silent Hill?
And you know what's crazy? That was in a cutscene. Like,
Yep.
Jesus.
Yo, shit is crazy, bro. All right, man. We're going to get out of here. Press Our Podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play. Also, check out our Patreon. We're doing Off the Record next Tuesday. And I just gave away like 22 codes on our Patreon as well. So check it out, man. And we out of here, man. Take it easy. Everyone have a good night and stay safe.
Peace.